I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I would like to advise those present that notice of this regular meeting of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken has been provided to the public in accordance with provisions of the Open Public Meetings Act. Notice of this meeting of Thursday, October 10th was given by publication of the annual meeting notice of the authority with amendments as necessary was sent to the Jersey Journal and Star Ledger on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Was sent to the City Clerk of Hoboken on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024, with a copy of the agenda to be posted on the bulletin board in City Hall, Hoboken Library, and Hoboken Police Department, and posted on the authority website on Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. I direct the meetings of this minute to state that I have announced the adequate notice of this meeting has been given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act. Roll call, Director.
David Edwards. Here. Anthony Forbes. Barbara Reyes.
Just signing in.
Forbes, I'll come back down to him. Barbara Reyes.
I'm here.
Anthony Forbes, great. Barbara Reyes.
Here.
Gene Rodriguez.
Yeah.
Michael Russo.
Present.
James Sanford. Erica Seitzman.
Here.
Can we just get the list first?
Yep, here we go.
I would just like to remind everyone that we have 5 minutes to talk. The first, and it's not a back and forth, so we will listen to your concerns. And if the director needs to follow up with you, he'll follow up at another time. Iris, I'm sorry, I don't know your last name.
Loriano.
Loriano.
Thank you. Could you spell your name for me?
Yes. Yes.
Laurano. Thank you. Hello. I'm very concerned. It's directly to Dr. Greco. He knows me. I sent him some pictures of my son's apartment. This has been going on for a year already. We neutered the cats. We did what we had to do. My son has his condition. Like I say, he drinks medication. He goes to the psych. I've been fighting more than 10 years with my son. I had 2 strokes already. Okay? I took pictures of my son's apartment today. And I want Dr. Greco, if he can, to look at these pictures and tell me if my son is a pig, which everybody's saying in the building, because I've had 10 Greco pictures before. And I want him to see these pictures because I want him to know the truth. My son is not a pig, okay? He's bipolar with a lot of issues, okay? And I want this left alone. Another thing is the bathtub. I've been dealing more than a year with his bathtub because people have been throwing grease through the tubes. I have pictures too, which I'm going to show you right now. This is 5 minutes. There you go. I don't know if you can see the pictures or I could go close to you, but this is my son's apartment. You could open up the pictures.
Okay, I see. I see. Yeah.
This is his floors, okay?
Could you send these to me?
Yeah, I sent you more before. Look, his cat litters are clean, his floors are clean. Okay, look. Look at his bathtub.
Where does he live?
He lives in 8D,
Okay.
okay?
8D here?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, Brandon Leo Sierra. Another thing is, I am not speaking bad about your workers, but if you approach the office to explain what's going on, and they're being very, very unrespectful, very rude, And I'm not gonna say the name, because there's no need to say the name. She don't wanna listen to me. I've showed her the pictures. We spaded the cats. They keep on. I had 2 strokes. I've been dealing with my son. I know how my son is, okay? And they keep on, and they keep on. I don't know who's complaining, but I have another picture. I've been taking pictures of the apartments here that I want you to check this apartment out, right here. Here you go, Mr. Greco. I don't know if he's protected by, there you go. Do you think, look at this, you go in this apartment and you can't even walk in this apartment,
Okay.
okay?
Okay. Why don't we set up a meeting with me, you, and the manager?
Okay,
Your son?
okay.
We'll do that. We'll call you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Adrian Rowland?
RAWLINS. My sister moved out of her old building and into a new one. She is disabled. She had very little help moving as I work, my sons work, my girls helped out a little bit. The manager at her old building called her every single week to find out, did you move your stuff out yet? Did you move your stuff out yet? That's harassment. I see it as harassment. There was no need to call. And if the housing authority would have helped, which I asked, and we were told that Danny Perez doesn't have anybody to help you. Why have a resident services department if they can't be there to help? That's what they're there for. They're there to help the residents. It's called resident services for a reason. That's just unbelievable. So now she's being told, well, if you left anything behind, we're gonna have to charge you. That has never happened. There was also a resident that she spoke with who said, I left stuff behind in my unit and they didn't charge me for it. So why are they going after my sister? And if it's because of me and you have an issue with me, Ms. Rodriguez, come see me. Talk to me. Leave my sister alone. Don't go after my sister like that. And speaking of resident services, when will the status of the Resident Advisory Board and Tenants Association elections, when will they be held? And will they be held in the evenings? Because if I end up going on the Resident Advisory Board, meetings should be held in the evening where it's more convenient for everyone. Because I work during the day. And my area has no representation at all. And that would be nice. Compactor issues were a major issue last weekend when it was down from Saturday until I believe Tuesday, and that's unacceptable. I had a bag on the door that whole weekend. We already have rats and mice in the building. My cats were sitting at the door waiting for something to come in. And then they're scratching on the door because they hear it in the hallway. And then my one cat, she's at the door every night because she hears them in the hallway. We have to get this issue under control, even if it's just for the mice. Because if one of them come in, it's going to be nasty. It'll be a murder. The light in the bottom of stairwell A was out for at least 2 days. And that is a very big concern because I take the stairs, my daughters take the stairs, and when there's a light out and I call for it, it should be taken care of that day. Not wait 2 or 3 days, because if something happens, somebody could be waiting at the bottom of the hallway, we don't know. Somebody could come in, we don't know. It's dark. You can't have a dark stairwell. It's unacceptable. And the kicking of the back door continues. Half an hour before I left to come here tonight, somebody kicking on the back door again. And again, and again. I don't know if he got in or not, but it does disturb my peace. It makes my wall in my kitchen shake. I don't know what he's using to kick that door, but it makes the wall shake. So, that needs to be taken care of. And as usual, the floor, dirty, the walls need to be painted. Something needs to give. Either you can train your staff again how to clean, sweep it, and then mop it, or get somebody else who could do the job correctly.
Thank you. Cecilia Rollins?
I changed my mind, Barbara.
Okay. Manuel Rivera Soler?
If I may? Thank you. See if I can do it. Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, everyone. It's awfully quiet in here. It's very unusual. So I can kind of hear my echo, so I might take a beat, hear my own voice. But I want to appreciate all of you and members of the public for attending, obviously, and letting you all know the occurrence and their needs. And of course, I'm sure that they will be attended appropriately in their appropriate manner. I just want to ask briefly before I go into some comments, just one issue or one question in the agenda, which is Resolution 2024.10.3, pardon me. I'm sure Mr. Director will give members of the public information in regards to this resolution. It's very important because I don't understand why I'm unaware of the security enhancements that are going to be there, but it would be important if asked, being that now I have more members of my family in the Hoboken housing community, which I thank everyone for their help and securing a place for said person to live. But there are always going to be questions. Nothing is personal. So I just want to reiterate that again. I unite with some of the members of the public who have some issues, and again, I know that they will be resolved in the appropriate manner. I would just like to take a few moments, if I may, just to change up the feeling and maybe do something a little more, I guess, different or similar, because it's me, so I ramble on. So I just want to say, of course, we're still in Hispanic Heritage Month. There's still a couple of days, so the 15th of October, but we also share it, as I said the last time I was here, with our Italian residents. So to all members of the public and members of the Housing Authority residents who are of Italian heritage, I would just like to say, buonasera a tutti, felice mese dell'erencia Italo-Americana. So, pardon me, Italo-Americana. That's the proper pronunciation, I believe. So, with that, I just want to say we should all also be proud and share in their heritage, because if you're a Hobokenite, you know you shared our community. We interacted and we learned from each other. We obviously fought with each other sometimes, but we came back together at the end and created the city that people love and enjoy today. Even these facilities weren't here sometimes when most of our parents and grandparents arrived here, and it was a different city. So with that, I just want to say again, thank you for your attention. And since tomorrow is a important Jewish holiday, I would like to say, I tried to say it last night in the council meeting, but I still can't do it, Council Commissioner Russo. But I will say Yom Tova, and so that's a celebration of Yom Kippur, which is, I believe it starts tomorrow evening. And to all, the blessing is, may you be sealed in the book of life. And again, I share that with all of you, all the members of the public, all the people who work in the Housing Authority. Again, thank you very much. I know that it's different. I know that again, sometimes people come up and they're upset, and I've said this before. But again, it shouldn't be personal. It's just let's help them, let's resolve the issues. And again, I, as now a quasi-resident, I want to be here for all of them, for all of you, and anything that I could assist. Thank you very much. Thank you, Madam Chair.
That's all I had for public portion, Director. I just wanted to point out that obviously one of the issues that came up was about the kicking the doors, popping the doors. I think it's not only a 560 Marshall Drive issue, I believe it's a 540 Marshall Drive issue. Director, I know you and I have had conversations about it, and I just want the public to understand that we will be setting up meetings with the Hoboken Police Department because we still have an MOU with them. They are supposed to be doing walkthroughs through the buildings throughout the night. That would probably prevent this from happening. So I just want you guys to know that your complaints are not being ignored. They will be addressed, and we're working on it.
In that regard, I should add that we are working with an engineering firm right now to see if we can put additional magnet locks on those doors to retrofit them so they wouldn't pop open even with the kind of abuse they're taking. So we're working on a couple fronts there.
Director, so we close public portion, now we move on to your report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. November 5th is around the corner. Let's get out and vote. Just our basic responsibility as citizens. We will again be hosting our usual voting locations throughout the Housing Authority in partnership with the Board of Elections. So we look forward to November 5th. It's been a busy month. I attended 2 training opportunities, and I also took a week of vacation, so I've been out and about. So I was working out of the office for a large part of the month. My training opportunities were as follows. Commissioner Reyes and I attended the Governor's Housing Conference. I believe that this was a particularly important year as Governor Murphy will be in his last year of office this coming year. So they rolled out a lot of programs that they're pushing and things that may well help with us with our redevelopment. We met with the HMFA tax credit experts and official, state DCA administrators, preserving public housing experts, wealth building regarding FSS programs, and low-income family officials and vendors. And I should say at these meetings, you also get to talk to people in between. You get to talk to the people that are actually administering an FSS program, family self-sufficiency now. You get to sit between and talk to the HMFA folks and find out what their requirements are going to be for the next year, to put names to faces, which is very important at these meetings. Commissioner Seisman and I attended the NARO National Conference in Orlando, and we managed to dodge the worst parts of Hurricane Helene. Fortunately, went by us. The Acting Secretary of HUD opened the session with a review of HUD budgets for the coming year. She acknowledged a lack of full funding expected in 2025 for housing authorities, especially in light of recent disaster mitigations. She acknowledged the ongoing national issues of unpaid rent following the pandemic. Again, to be clear, we are not alone in our efforts to have past due rent and collect that past due rent. We are, along with many housing authorities, dealing with this issue, and it's a large enough issue across the country that the Secretary of HUD would mention it in her speech and convey her understanding that we are doing the best we can to dig ourselves out of this pandemic hole. The government's currently funded under continuing resolution. If that funding level is maintained into 2025, it would leave an expected $650 million shortfall just in operating expenditures for housing authorities. At the moment, it is unsure. Her best guess right now would be somewhere around a 90% funding level. But again, we won't know until January where HUD's funding level is going to be for 2025. So we have to make sure we keep our eyes open on those budgets. Some of the sessions we attended, preserving housing with the Office of Urban Revitalization, financing options were gone into detail with examples from around the country, which is right up our alley. Pest control options were discussed. We actually brought back some ideas that our pest control folks are implementing, along with the city is too, by the way. We're introducing birth control. So we're moving right along. We're hoping that'll make a difference. No jokes. New energy options through the American Reconstruction Act. As new construction is planned, there's going to be some opportunities as we do redevelopment to find some new programs that are coming out of that redevelopment act. So we went through those. We discussed the HUD initiative to encourage middle-income housing. Again, right up our alley with redevelopment. It's really great to hear that not only is HUD pushing this idea, but that they're willing to partner with us as we rebuild and redevelop. So really great to hear those things. Middle income housing, exactly. Collaborations with the cities, that other examples from around the country through bonding and other means were given. Councilman, we'll talk. Rules and regulations of the SAC office were reviewed. It was good to meet their operation because we cannot redevelop it without approvals from the Special Applications Center, which is in Chicago through HUD. Current HUD rules on affiliates and instrumentalities were reviewed, and the kickoff was our work as housers were emphasized. This idea of us as professionals being housers, that's what we do. I've dedicated 44 years of my life to housing people, and to see a very large room from around the country of housers being proud of what we do day to day, and I'm very proud of my staff for what they do. Are we perfect? No, but we work hard. Moving on September 24th, I and HHA senior staff hosted a group from HUD that consisted of nationwide leaders from HUD's Office of Prevention, Recovery, and Transformation, led by their director, Tawanda McComb. The branch of HUD is involved with HHA because we remain a troubled housing authority, which will not change until we redevelop, because the issue is the wide and deep problems at Andrew Jackson and Harrison. They understand that. We toured with them. They saw our buildings. And as we discussed, that's the only fact that's holding us back at this point. Every other qualification for HUD has been met. The visit was an informational session to them to expand their knowledge of our strategic plan and redevelopment plans. We spent time reviewing our plans and process in my office, and then did a tour of our seats. I think it's fair to say the group was very impressed with our staff capability, our progress towards redevelopment in both our strategic and redevelopment plans. They were impressed with our unit turnover quality and cleanliness of our buildings. This group goes to housing authorities across the country, and to me it's not surprising. They walk into our properties and they are actually shocked by how clean they are, and about what's going on when they walk into the buildings and to see our staff operate like they do. Again, are we perfect? No, but are we way ahead of most housing authorities around the country? Yes, absolutely. I included a picture with that team, so it was a very good session. To follow up on that, on August 29th, a contingent from Australia is visiting HUD's office, and HUD has honored us from the regional office with an invitation for us to be the housing authority that they visit in their region, to take a look at our strategic plan, to take a look at our redevelopment plan, and tour our developments and talk to them about what we're doing and learn from them about what they do in their country. So we're really looking forward to that. If anyone would like to join, please give me a call. We'll make final plans. During October, we'll be working on submitting applications for the following HUD grants. This month, the grants are due for the Family Self-Sufficiency Program, Family Unification Program, and a HUD Emergency Grant Eligibility Program, which you apply for ahead of time. So if there is an emergency, you're there, you're approved, you're ready to jump in and get some special HUD funding. So we're going to be doing that this month. I am sad to announce, for those of you that don't know, that Daniel Perez has left our employment as of mid-last week. Daniel has moved on. We have published both in-house and public advertisements for the position. If anyone knows anyone, please send them our way. We'd be glad to consider them. We hope to fill that soon, so don't dawdle on that. We'd like to get some application. We'd like to get those in soon. We do have a plan with our managers and our executive staff to step in, and we're going to keep things going. Things won't stop. I think we're well qualified to keep this going and our resident services going as we move ahead. The 10 Reasons Drop-In Center continues to grow in a successful manner. I will be at all of our sites during October for our meet and greets. So on Tuesday, October 15th, at 11 a.m. I'll be at Monroe Gardens. At 2 o'clock that afternoon, October 15th, you'll see the flyers out. I'll be over at Adams. On the 16th at Andrew Jackson and Harrison at 5 o'clock, and Christopher Columbus on Thursday the 17th at 5 o'clock. And then following that, we'll be at Fox Hill Gardens here for our regular resident meeting. I expect to have a final reorganization coming to you during November. I expect to do that in November. Probably won't be informational to the board until December, but I'll send it out as soon as I can. We are working with the input of the enterprise partner team for the reorganization heading into 2025, and I'll be finalizing that plan during the month of November. With that same thing with staff, and I don't know if I put it down, but just a note, we're doing our staff reviews this month. We have advertised the following open positions. We've got a public relations and policy specialist, resident services specialist, a development director, and accounting clerk. So if anyone's interested, please come in on those, because we're going to be filling those across the board soon, along with my reorganization. Hoboken Housing Forward. The city is proceeding with the environmental review. We've been having a series of meetings with their contractor. Again, before we can move on this, we have to have an environmental study done on our properties. That's in process. That's the city's consultant, it's not ours. We're certainly a partner with them, but they're working under the city's auspices. The Developer Selection Committee, which is probably the big news, right? They're working in full swing under the guidance of their chairman, Frank Merchant. They've been meeting regularly to evaluate the 4 proposals that have received. The committee hopes to make a recommendation no later than the November or December board. It depends on how fast they can agree. I know they've been going to some site visits. I'm not on that committee, but they've been going to some site visits. They've been turning it inside out. Their mission is to make a recommendation to this board to approve entering into an agreement with the developer partner. Once that is approved, a redevelopment agreement with the developer, the city, and the city will then be given final approval to the plan. Frank or Commissioner Edwards, anything you want to say about that beyond that I haven't expounded on?
No, other than
It's important.
I want to thank all the committee members for all the time that they've put in. I want to say that all the folks that we've been dealing with have been very helpful to us in general, because as we work with all the folks who have been putting in ideas, these are all very dedicated folks in their fields, and the ideas that they're bringing are all good. So going through the interviews with the different developers just makes us all more rounded, and I really appreciate, like I said, what the committee's been doing, and I think that we are on the road for a decision very soon.
Great. Thank you, Frank.
Director, if I could just add something, and it's not directly related to that. Last night, the City Council moved to put Block 35 into a redevelopment zone. As most people would look at that site, that's the former PSE&G site. So we don't actually have any rights to that property as of yet, but it is something that we're pushing for. Hopefully we can include it in our overall plan to get this project moving a little bit faster than what it's currently on schedule.
Thank you, Councilman. That is great news. Absolutely, absolutely.
Yay.
Anything we can do, that's tremendous.
It's actually pretty horrible news.
So, we are continuing our regular meetings with the Enterprise HUD and HHA team. Again, we are taking this steps with qualified consultants from across the country, as well as high-level HUD folks that are part of our team as we make every step. Our contract with our consultant for future capital needs, which is a requirement from HUD on redevelopment, is in process. They have given us a very draft report. We'll be reviewing that report over the coming month and bring it to you for review once we have a draft that the staff and EJP and HUD is happy with. We are beginning our work on projecting our management needs and positioning into 2025, as I mentioned earlier, with staff. We're getting ready for our future revision of our Section 8 admin plan and our public housing ACOP, which we would expect again by December. Right? Yeah, so we'll be bringing that to you. We need to finish that up. I again, as I mentioned last month, would like to toot our own horn that we are receiving the annual New Jersey Future Growth Smart Growth Award, New Jersey Future Smart Growth Award on October 22nd. Unfortunately, they are very limited in who they will agree to invite. So it's going to be Chairman Reyes and I going to that award ceremony. I'll send a special email out to everyone. Just I think yesterday they sent out some flyer
Excuse me,
material.
can we quiet down here? Sent out something.
Thank you. They sent out some flyer material to me that I can forward over to you. I think it only costs about $150 a seat to go. Yeah. So. Yeah. Yeah, so, but we're really proud of that. And it's interesting because at the Governor's Housing and Economic Development Conference, I had a number of people walk up to me and congratulate me and the Hoboken Housing Authority on receiving that. People from all over the state pay attention on what we're doing and have a chance to take a look at our strategic plan. So we'll keep you informed on that. We have received a response on both the VASH and single occupancy project-based voucher. We are working with both groups. We've been in pretty consistent contact now with both groups on some information that they need to bring in to finalize their RFPs and for us to bring it to you for final approval. I continue to meet with residents and encourage you to come in and see me. For those of you that came tonight, please come. Give a call, drop off a note at the central office. We'd be glad to meet with Ms. Rollins, either of them, or with you, ma'am. We'd be glad to meet with you at any time.
Thank you very much.
We're happy to do that, and that's what we're here for.
Thank you.
That's what we're here for. If our managers aren't giving you the response you want, and we can't solve the problem with you, Mr. Merchant, as their direct supervisor, we will be glad to sit down with you at a round table.
Thank you very much, Mr. Griffin.
Thank you. Applications to become a trustee for Housing for Hoboken are still being accepted and will be until the position is filled. Special capital projects, the defensible space fencing is in the permitting process. That's for behind our buildings from 288 Harrison to 400 Marshall. When that's ready on the permits, we'll be moving forward. The Harrison Courtyard project is in the very beginning phases. We'll be talking about that quite a bit at the meet and greet, as we have at prior meet and greets at Harrison and Andrew Jackson, but that's starting. So we'll be starting over the coming week on the Harrison Courtyard project. The Adams Garden generator is still in the same phase, waiting for PS&G to increase the gas pressure line over to the emergency generator. I want to be clear that the old generator is still functioning. It's functioning well, but this is the new one for the future. The work on the Monroe boiler replacement is virtually done. They're waiting for one part on that project. As part of the special allocation of capital funding in Harrison Gardens, the security camera installation on each floor on the rooftop is under construction, and we will be addressing an expansion to that project with the question that Manny had earlier, which is an expansion to that camera project. Hallway and stairwell refurbishment work is underway, getting more toward completion. I believe almost all that's left are stair treads that are waiting to come in, and so they should be complete soon. Exterior doorway replacement work is underway. We are waiting for the CDBG funding to be official through the city. Thank you, city, for this. They are going to be doing Mama Johnson Field renovations and security upgrades to include gates at the Horseshoe, lighting, playground resurfacing, and rodent-resistant trash receptacles. We are really looking forward to that. That's really great news. We have been meeting with the city regularly on that. We are also developing, and I didn't put this in my report, we're developing our scope of work for Fox Hill here. We'll be talking about that at the Fox Hill meet and greet for our second phase of work here at Fox Hill. We're developing that scope of work now. We'll be looking for resident input on that. We are going to be revamping our parking plan. Our intent is to give every single resident that has an approved parking space a number for a permanent parking space for their car. So right now we have designated parking spots for disabled for folks that are disabled, but everyone else kind of, it's go as you can. And what our plan is to have a spot for each person. That's a designated spot. So if there should be a problem in their spot, that's my spot, you're not supposed to be there, call the towing company, go. So we'll be rolling that out through our resident meetings as well. A snapshot of our management reports. Mr. Merchant, you want to take the 97% occupancy rate, maybe? Right on it?
97% was last month,
Right.
which is the report that's in front of you. I am proud to say we are currently above 98. So this is a milestone that we have been waiting for a very long time. So I definitely want to thank everyone who did it, which is all the staff, everyone in maintenance, how we pushed to get these apartments turned over. So thank you so much for that. So speaking with our folks from HUD today, they're going to assist us as well because they're equally excited about our and what they know is that what our balance of what we're missing to get to 100 is technically kind of beyond their control because the units that are so bad that need complete rehab done to them. So they're going to they're going to work with us to take as many of those units offline for now, which would then not count them against us, which might put us in 99. I know that part of my reporting, unfortunately, is what's coming after that 99, but we still have to rejoice in what we have accomplished, and that is a big kudos to everyone at Hoboken Housing, but also Newark Field Office is taking credit for this because we are part of the New Jersey family here. Yeah. So thank you for everyone who made it possible.
And no one in New Jersey is as high as we are. We're considerably ahead of any housing authority in New Jersey. And if we get to 99, Qua over at HUD, who's the major engineering, said they're going to advertise this everywhere through New Jersey once we hit that 99, and we will. So thank you, Frank. Go on.
So where we are as of this report, 97% at public housing and 96 at Fox Hill. Our total average as a housing authority is 97. Our PIC numbers continue to be okay. We should be at 100 on that one. We're going to keep pushing on that. That is work internally. But overall, the big topic here is this tenant accounts receivable line and the families that we're in court with. So this coming Tuesday next week, we will be in court. It's our first court date. We are going to be in court with about 35 families, unfortunately. We have made every possible effort to reach out to each family. And in fact, we have partnered with the city as well. And we explained to them, because we understand that when we go to court, the next step is they're going to go to the city. So we wanted to make sure that the city was aware of the floodgates that we're going to open. They were very gracious to create a flyer and provide some support that went out specifically to those families, and I reached out to social services today from Hoboken, and they said that the flyers made an impact, that a lot of families did call, which was very good, because then they got the good advice of show up to court. And that's what my biggest takeaway from my part today is, to families who are in court with us on Tuesday, please show up. We will work something out in court. We will figure something out. If you don't show up, then unfortunately, there's nothing we can do at that point. But I would encourage everyone to come, sit with us, and we can find a way forward. You know, there's always one more chance even through court.
And part of that issue is to clearly, there is still hope for folks that are going to court with us. We can still get a court-sanctioned agreement with you. But understand, it will be court-sanctioned now. So once you're serious about entering that agreement with us and moving forward, we'd like nothing better. We don't want to have to evict anybody. We have used every program out there that gives rental assistance. We have assisted many, many hundreds of families with tapping into the state rental assistance. The HOPES program has helped us immensely with our residents tapping into those and getting assistance from those programs. And these are really the folks that haven't responded, that haven't gone down that road with us. So we're hoping this will kind of, for many people, this will be our last chance, and we're hoping to come out positively if possible. But it's really going to be difficult if you haven't paid us rent for 4 years. You may have a large balance, and we will try our best to work with you, but we'll go from there. Frank, back to you.
And while we do have some court dates, there are other families who are waiting to receive a court date, right? So I still continue to encourage families who have not entered into a repayment agreement with us to do so, please, because if you do enter into a repayment agreement with us, we can take you off of the court list. Obviously, if we have a signed complaint and we have a court date, then we have to do a court-ordered repayment agreement. However, for those who are not at that point yet, please come and see either me or Jimena in the main office, or speak to your manager. If anyone that's listening to this on Facebook or any family and friends, tomorrow is the last day that you can see me in the office, so please ask them to come see us.
Anything else you've got, Frank? Is that the end of your report?
Nope.
Thank you. We are working with the enterprise partners in revising our admin plan and our ACOP. We did have a slight delay because of the confusion from HUD on doing their new guidelines for HOTMA, but we expect to go past that now and be coming to you with those reports, with those policies. We have that change in our work order call system effective last July. It seems to be working well, that we now have one number to call. It used to be that you called the manager's office and they arranged for work orders. We've taken that off of them, and it's going directly back to maintenance. Attachment 4 is our plumbing report. I usually, and I will apologize, I usually have the elevator and extermination report. They were complete in time for this meeting, so we'll have them back to you for a 2-month period next month. Jack Medina and Sammy Fermay are continuing to work and lead our maintenance department. We're currently accepting applications for part-time building maintenance workers and part full-time mechanics. We ask that residents please call your manager's office if a cleaning or repair is delayed. We want to know about it so we can talk to maintenance about it. Our boiler crew is working on preventative maintenance and readying our boilers and hot water heaters in anticipation of the next heating season. And you will see a resolution tonight regarding one of our systems that needs an emergency repair in anticipation of winter. So we'll talk about that during the resolutions. We are making...
Yes. Excuse me a second, Director.
Sure.
Was it yesterday we had a resident service meeting? Tuesday. I think it was yesterday.
It was Tuesday.
Our resident service meeting.
It was Tuesday.
Tuesday, Commissioner.
I'm sorry, days of blur, guys, I'm sorry. But I just want to pay homage and pay a huge compliment to, to our groundskeepers because, I'm in Passaic County frequently, I'm in Monmouth County, I'm in different counties, throughout the state doing events with housing authorities. And I just want to give a compliment to us that our grounds, in my professional opinion, are the best throughout the state that I've seen. And I just want to give a compliment to the crew for that. Curb appeal is really important when it comes to how people see. So I just want to say thank you guys for that piece, because I'm frequently downtown and I'm frequently uptown, and I see how our grounds are kept very nicely. So I just want to say thank you for that, guys. And I mentioned that at our meeting the other night with the director as well.
Thank you, Commissioner. That really means a lot to us. We're very proud of that. And I believe very strongly that if we present good living conditions for our residents, that they will then respond. So we will keep working on that the best we can. Thank you, Commissioner.
Yes, I absolutely. As a product and born and raised in the HHA, only living in one building, 400 MD, we took pride in keeping our buildings clean. We took pride in keeping our communities clean. So hopefully we can continue that trend as we move forward in the new plan.
Thank you, sir. We are having our maintenance crew make progress on painting and repairing lobby areas and stairwells in our buildings. I think, Sammy, where have you been and where are you going?
We just accomplished, oh yeah, close. We just accomplished 530 Jackson. I consider it Marshall, but it's Jackson. We did the 3-story building, we plastered it, painted it, and as we speak, we're working at 512 Jackson, completing that building. Once that 3-story building is completed, we're going to tackle the 221 Jackson Community Room, which it also needs a makeover on paint and repairs as well. And I mean, we're going to just continue hitting on to the 3-story buildings as we go, attacking from the worst to the best. And hopefully by the end of March, we should be completed with all our 3-story buildings.
Proud of you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I have one question. Sammy, is that are we doing just the little buildings, or are we also tackling the bigger buildings?
Well, right now we're tackling all the 3-story buildings only because the 7-story buildings, our worst parts are actually the lobbies, which we already addressed. Once the 3 stories are completed, we want to continue with the senior buildings, then go back to our 7 stories and work our way, because a lot of our 7-story buildings are cinder block, so they don't need as much as attention as the 3-story buildings, because it's masonry. It's basically like plaster, so it needs more attention than the cinder block at the moment. All right, thank you.
Our finance department is working on our annual reviews. HR is under the finance department, so we're doing all of our staff reviews in October, November. The Finance Professional Procurement Committee did meet on September 30th, and I do have an added attachment to my report, which is a Housing Authority financial summary. And I don't know if Commissioner Edwards and/or Emma want to make any comments about that.
I'll let Emma go first.
The Finance Committee did meet on...
Emma, could you come over?
Emerald. Cool.
Thank you.
Good evening, Emil Cawthorne, CFO. So the Finance Committee and Professional Procurement Committee did meet on Monday, September 30th, went through finances through July 31st, 2024. There were some highlights that we provided in your packet. You're seeing that we are projecting a surplus, revenue over expenses, of slightly over $1 million. High notes are utility refunds received in August that are not reflected in these financials, but you will see them as we work to close out the year ended 9/30/2024. One thing we are concerned with, as Frank brought up, we will be booking a large allowance for doubtful accounts, and that will affect that surplus. Potentially, it is recoverable, but we do need to be conservative with what we are presenting on those financials, so we will probably have in excess of $1 million of an allowance for doubtful accounts at the year end. The Housing Choice Voucher Program, Section 8, is doing well. We are projecting a $160,000 surplus, and Fox Hill, this building which converted to RAD, has a small surplus of $44,000. Those are the highlights. And behind that summary page, you will see a balance sheet and profit and loss statements for all 4 programs. That is public housing, the central office cost center, Section 8, and the Fox Hill RAD program.
I would like to note that some of the figures that Emma just said seem, oh my gosh, we've got this great surplus, right? Well, a couple of things. One is we are going to have to write off lost rent over the next couple of months. Second is we don't know where our funding levels are going to be until January. We don't know whether HUD's going to fund us for 80%, 85%, 90%. So although it sounds great, and it is great, I think we've run things well, but we need to be sure coming into some shortfall years, which the HUD secretary made clear to us at the meeting, that we can expect some of that news coming over the next couple of years, that we need to make sure we have enough money to run this housing authority in reserve should HUD come in and cut our funding for a considerable amount. So thank you. I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, no, I agree with everything that's said, and yeah, the write-off's going to be huge, and basically eliminates what looks like now a nice surplus. Secondly, I want to thank Emil and the director and the committee members. I'm delighted that we now are getting monthly financials that we're reviewing at the Finance Committee meeting, which is very helpful in looking and understanding the numbers and understanding the way forward. So thank you for everybody who's been involved to make that happen. I think we've got a format now that works for everybody. We may work a little on the summary, but the other numbers are right in line with what we're looking for, and we're meeting monthly to review them as well. So, secondly, we've merged finance and professional procurement, and just kind of a heads up, there's a couple of procurement decisions that need to be made. I think there's 6 or 7 for year end, so over the next couple of months, we're going to be very active reviewing the RFPs as they come in, and we'll be coming to you for approval. In fact, one of them, a big important one tonight, that is, as you'll see, is one of the resolutions, is the decision on the banking department. I think that's it. Thank you.
I've got one more item on the finance, is that we started today with negotiation with our maintenance workers union, Local 97, for a new contract. So that's going to be coming to us over the next couple months as well. And that's never free. Special events coming up in resident services. Thank you, Emma. Special events coming up. We do have a special RAD board meeting on the 17th at Adams. I think in light of Mr. Perez leaving us, we need to caucus and make sure we're all on track. We do have some elections coming up for leadership on the developments. They're coming up in the next month or so. Mr. Perez put them in motion and then left us. So we need to make sure we're covered on that. We're going to be meeting with the resident leaders to make sure that everyone's involved. We do have some Halloween lunches coming up. We got one at Fox Hill on the 25th, at Monroe on the 30th, and at Adams on the 31st. And we do have our annual HHA trunk or treat on the 26th from 4 to 7 over by Mama Johnson Field. And I will just repeat at the end of my resident services that I will be having the meet and greets at each site over the next month. And that should conclude my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Director. Moving forward.
Excuse me, I have some questions regarding the director's report and the reports from Mr. Merchant, Mr. Pathera, and Mr. Edwards.
Okay, Commissioner Spencer, floor is yours.
Thank you. Would it be okay to have Frank and Emil stand up? I have questions on the Special Procurement Committee. Thank you.
Can I just go back to the fact that any questions should be actually referred to the director, and then the director can actually answer those and follow up? I think that's the policy. I don't think that we should have our staff members.
What a strange policy.
No, it's not, it's not strange. It's something that's been in place and that everyone on this board has.
We have employees who have delivered reports to the commissioners. I am still a commissioner on this board, and I am entitled to ask these employees about their presentations.
No, you are entitled to ask the director who you oversee, not the actual staff members.
I just
So feel free to ask the director your questions, and if the director feels fit that the staff should answer, he will then do so. Thank you very much.
Director, can I ask your employees some questions?
Well, why don't you ask me, and then if I need them, we'll jump in.
Wow. Okay, Director. Who's on the Special Procurement Committee?
I don't have the list in front of me. Do you have that list in front of you?
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Frank. Should have gone right to you first.
We have Chris Brown from the city. We have Emil from our CFO. We have Jackie Medina from maintenance. We have April Harris from the community. We have Commissioner Edwards, Joe McDonald from the community, and myself as the chair.
And have you always been the chair of that committee?
No, this committee was formed for this particular selection.
Since the committee was formed, he's been the chair.
Yeah. Since the committee has been formed, he's been the chair.
Correct.
So, I thought Emil was the chair at one point of the Special Procurement Committee.
Not that I know of.
But he was definitely a member of that special.
Yes, he is. Like, as you know.
And I was before too.
Okay. And then which committee was Ms. Corin Richmond previously the head of that committee?
There was also a committee that chose the pre-approval of developers.
Pre-approval.
Yes, that was a number of months ago.
That was a number of months. So that committee no longer exists?
Correct.
It has been disbanded?
Correct.
Okay. And who were the members? What was the name of that committee, and who were the members of that committee?
That was a committee, I don't think it had, I don't know.
Okay, just wait a second, everybody's kind of jumping in a little bit.
One
It's
at a
okay.
time, please.
Am I ready?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if it had a particular name except for the committee that was charged with qualifying developer partners. That RFP specifically noted that we would choose a number of partners that were qualified, and then a follow-up RFP would go out to choose our developer partner. Now, we'd have to get back to you on the members of that committee, or I would have to get back to you on the members of that committee. It was 6 or 8 months ago, that committee, and I'd have to take a look.
Emil, were you a part of that committee?
Yes, and if you don't mind, Director, I can speak to who the 7 members of that committee was.
Thank you.
It was the same committee, except for the fact that Corinne Richmond left our authority and Jackie Medina came into place. So it was still 3 employees and 4 members of the community. Commissioner Edwards was not on the board at that time, and so it was Aaron Lewitt.
So since that point, can you just clarify for the public record who were the changes?
So Commissioner Aaron Lewitt at the time, as a member, community member, April Harris, as a resident of advisory board, Joe McDonald. From the city, it wasn't Chris Brown. His name was Theodore, I don't recall his last name, but he reports to Chris Brown. So I would have to get back to you on that. And then the employees at the authority were myself, Frank, and Corinne Richmond.
And then Jackie came in later.
Jackie came in when the professional procurement committee was formed to select the developer.
To select the developer partner. And when did Jackie get appointed?
When the director formed that committee. I don't recall the date.
I'm sure it's in minutes.
Okay. So, when this committee that was first formed, and I'm sure it's in the minutes, first started, I was promised minutes of those meetings, and it's been over a year. I've received 0 minutes. No one has provided the minutes, and I'd like to repeat the same question from over a year ago to Emil and or Frank and yourself. Where are the minutes?
I don't remember that request, but I'll be glad to entertain it if you drop me an email.
Thank you.
Well, that's the same answer that you gave me about a year ago.
Yeah.
So, are minutes being taken of these proceedings?
I'm not on that committee, but I'd be glad to take a look into it, and give me your request, we'll be glad to do it. I haven't had an email from you since July, I think, so please give me the...
Frank, or
and if I may, Director, just as a point of clarity,
Yeah.
the committee you're referring to is an ad hoc committee that was created, I don't know the exact date, but it was within the last few months. This committee did not exist a year ago.
Right.
Well, it's being portrayed technically as a new committee, but it's mostly the same members.
It is an ad hoc committee created in the last, I would say, 3 or 4 months.
So it's an ad hoc committee, got it. So, this might be my last meeting, so I got to ask some questions here. Is this ad hoc committee created and maintained consistently with the procurement policy?
Yes.
And is it consistent with the special procurement policy and the amendments that we have made to it
Yes.
over the past year?
Yes.
Okay. Now, can you help me to understand whether, it was about a year ago, whether or not we agreed to have the members of that committee subject to a financial disclosure form?
I don't remember that.
No. Council, do you remember?
I don't recall.
May I?
Yes.
I do remember, and Harold specifically said that if we did that, we probably wouldn't have members on the board. So at that point, I was stricken to the side. You had brought it up, and people did talk about it, and Harold was at that meeting. He had said that he wouldn't be okay with that at that point.
I think that was actually discussed at one of our
Yes.
monthly meetings, so it would again be in the meeting.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate your memory on this. So you're chair now?
Yes.
Okay. As chair, what of this ad hoc committee, what steps have you taken to ensure that nothing out of the ordinary, nothing possibly illegal, or possibly a conflict of interest exists among its members?
I'll refer to Matt, whatever I can. Can I speak?
Yeah, I might at least attempt to answer that, is that I don't think we've taken any criminal background checks, any credit checks. We've not asked them for financial statements. We have not tapped their telephones. We have not done any of that. We have a committee that is made up of very respectable individuals from the community, with a cross-section of the community, that is looking at these proposals and making sure they're in the best interest of the housing authority. It's not one person making a decision. And I think traditionally that is a very strong way of making sure that nothing goes awry, because there is a very cross-section of people. We've got people from the religious community that are there. We've got people that have extensive experience in banking. We've got people from the city planning department. We've got people from our resident advisory board. And I think that is a very strong way of making sure that people stay on the straight and narrow during a selection process. If any of those individual members were to come and try to sway the group, the rest of the group would be like, no way, we're not going there. And I think that is a very strong way of checks and balances on a committee like that.
Well, and just to clarify for the public so they understand where I'm coming from, all the members of this board and some of our crucial employees, including yourself, Director, do have to complete a financial disclosure form every year.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah.
And that's because all of us engage in activities and take votes and make decisions involving some pretty consequential matters, right, including some very expensive, high dollar value projects. So the selection of this, the purpose of this committee is to recommend a redeveloper to this board, correct?
Correct.
And
a redeveloper partner.
A redevelopment partner. And I mean, how much do we anticipate compensating this redevelopment partner?
Well, it depends on our agreement in the end. I can't answer that right now.
Okay. I'm just trying, I mean, we got a surplus, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand, are we going to be compensating this redevelopment partner in the tens of thousands of dollars, the millions of dollars, the hundreds of thousands of dollars?
It depends on
the development.
It depends on the development agreement. We don't know yet. We're not there yet. We haven't picked a developer partner. We are then going to have to negotiate a development agreement with this person. So we're not there yet. I'm not going to anticipate where we are, but any development like this is going to be a high dollar development, and it's going to have this board looking at it. This board will be the ones that actually make the recommendation to the city, and in the end, the city has to approve the developer partner. So there's a lot of hoops that have to be jumped through yet.
So remind me again, how many years have you been within the public housing industry?
About 44.
44. So in those 44 years, have you ever had to do a redevelopment project similar to this?
Not as large as this, but a number of redevelopment projects, yes.
Okay. And in those redevelopment projects, how much did it cost to compensate the redevelopment partner?
The way it's traditionally done is there are percentages of the building cost, percentages that are agreed to with the developer partner. So even in those, I haven't written them down on the back of my hand or in my notes. So I really can't give an accurate answer to you, and I'm not about to guess. But let it be known, I think what you're getting to is, yes, there's going to be a lot of money involved. There's going to be a lot of eyes on this. We have got a national group of consultants that have done these projects over and over again. This is something that's going to have a lot of checks and balances. HUD's got our eyes on us. People with experience at HUD have our eyes on us. Our attorneys have our eyes on us. HUD's attorneys have our eyes on us. The city attorneys. This is something that we take very seriously, and there is a place for community ad hoc committees to make recommendations to political bodies such as this board. This board can make their decision in the end of whether they want to accept that recommendation, but that's as far as that goes. They are not employees of the Housing Authority, they're not employees of the state, they're a committee that comes on, as opposed to this body, which is a body that's sanctioned by state law. So they don't fall under those regulations like we do on financial statements, et cetera.
If I were to be permitted to ask Emil and Frank a similar question, could they help me to understand whether the redevelopment partner would be compensated in either the hundreds of thousands of dollars or the millions of dollars?
I think I've already answered that question.
You've already answered that question?
Yes.
Okay. So, the redevelopment partner, this committee is going to decide who that is?
No.
No. They're going to decide a recommendation
They're going to do a recommendation to this board.
based upon those who had pre-qualified the previous, from a year ago.
If you will, again, to restate that, there was a pre-qualified group of developers that were then sent the final RFP, and a subset of that group responded to that final RFP. And those are the folks that are being reviewed now by the committee.
Can the committee do an effective evaluation with so much turnover of the members of that committee? Some of these people are no longer there. Should we go back and requalify the first set of vendors?
There's no turnover in this committee. This committee is a new committee formed to take a look at the proposals that have been submitted to the Housing Authority. There'd be no reason to go back and reevaluate the ones that were accepted by this board on recommendation of that committee. There's no reason to do that.
So the members, it's very helpful. So then the members of the first committee, who are the same members of this now second ad hoc committee, they're bringing their experience from that process to this committee.
That's one of the experiences they're bringing, yes.
And that's why they're on the committee.
Well, yeah, but there are also all the other experiences in their professional life, such as the new people, such as Commissioner Edwards, that wasn't on the first committee, but he brings new and great things to this committee. And that's a valuable thing. Mr. Merchant brings new and fresh things to this committee.
So I recall a time when I volunteered to serve on this committee. And I just like to, and I think at the same time that happened and you had appointed Commissioner Edwards, I had asked you what your evaluation criteria was for this committee. So now that you've explained a little bit more about how you selected the members of this committee, could you go into a little more detail as to why you appointed each one of these commissioners?
Well, you asked that in the past, right?
Yeah,
I asked it, I never got an answer.
I think it was answered at every meeting and it's in the minutes of the House.
Under the policy, I have the right to select a committee, and I selected a well-rounded committee of people with professional, that I thought could add to the selection process.
Apparently my colleagues have a better memory than I. What was the answer?
So I just answered.
He just answered it.
What was the answer? I don't know what the answer is.
If you were listening to him, he just answered you.
Under the
Well,
policy.
you were talking, I was listening to you. I was listening to you, Madam Chair. So what was the answer?
Commissioner, we can't make you understand it. We can give you the answer, and if you choose to understand it, if you choose not to understand it, or you can't understand it, no one could change that. That's on you.
It's in the minutes, you always can go back and read them.
And I don't understand that statement by you, but that
Well,
detracts.
you were given an answer, and apparently you don't understand that.
Give me the answer. I didn't hear it. Sorry.
Okay, are we ready? Am I ready? Okay, good. As I said, I am charged under the policy to choose people for this committee. That is my obligation to do that. And there's no other written obligation of what I have to do. I look for a well-rounded committee. I think I found that well-rounded committee. It is a committee with somebody, the head of city planning at the city, so they can be part of this operation and decision from the beginning. We need that partnership with the city. I chose somebody from my staff that has maintenance experience, knows our properties very well, knows the interior of our properties. I chose a board member that has much experience in banking in the past, that knows finances and banking very well. I chose somebody that represents the religious community in and around Hoboken, as well as knows our residents very well. I chose a member of the Resident Advisory Board that can give recommendations from our residents and make sure their concerns are addressed. I chose our head of our management department to lead that because he knows HUD regulations, he knows what we have to do. I think my mission was to form a well-rounded committee that could take a look at these proposals, and I will continue to stand by that. I think I chose a very good committee with a well-rounded look at all of these issues that we have to face.
Okay. So how, in developing this well-rounded committee, how did you choose a committee
I'm sorry.
to ensure that no member of this committee has a conflict of interest?
Well, I just told you that I've chosen a committee that I believe to be well-rounded, upstanding, experienced people.
So you did not take into consideration the possibility of a conflict of interest?
Well, I think if any of these committees were a private developer, I would worry about a conflict of interest. If I had heard of any issues like that, I think I would have thought that through. But if you're asking, again, if I did background checks on the committees, if I did criminal checks on the committee members, I did not do that. And I was not about to do that. I don't know of any possibility that you have or know about any of these committee members. I believe that they are true upstanding citizens of this community, and I trust them.
So I want to make
Director, I just want to interrupt before Commissioner Sanford continues. But are you obligated to do a background? That's not an obligation.
No, I'm not. There's no
Okay,
obligation.
thank you. I just want to make sure that that's on the record.
So I'm going to preface this because I don't want to cast any aspersion whatsoever on my colleague. My understanding is that Commissioner Edwards is a former developer. Is that correct?
That would be incorrect.
No. Okay. What is your history?
I'm sorry, what
No,
are
I
yours,
listen to
I'm
this
sorry,
conversation.
excuse me, you're talking that way, I gotta hear you. What was the question? What are your
qualifications? What is your former employment history?
I don't think that we're here, I'm sorry, I would like to interrupt, because we are not here to do an interview of every single individual that's on this committee. That's not what we're here for. If you had questions like that, again, I will say this again as I state at every meeting. Maybe you should be part of the committee meetings, because all these questions would be properly answered to you during committee meetings. It wouldn't have to be a drawn-out meeting where you're trying to honestly make a show for the public to make it seem that you're here all month long doing the work that you're supposed to be doing as a commissioner. So with that being said, I don't think that Commissioner Edwards should be interrogated, just like I don't feel that any of our staff members from the Hoboken Housing Authority should have to come up to the microphone. The only person that we're here to oversee is Director Recco, and that's who should be addressed. Thank you.
Madam Chair, that's your defense of Commissioner Edwards is noted.
It's not a defense, I'm just saying. I'm pretty sure he can answer you, I just don't feel that he should be interrogated. It seems like an interrogation.
I'm trying to decide what I'm supposed to answer and not answer here. So
If I could, Madam Chair, the agenda item right now that
There's no agenda
we're
item
operating
other
under
than.
is the report of the executive director.
Exactly.
If there are questions of the executive director, they should be directed to the
To the
executive director.
Exactly.
If
what I
there are
have.
other issues that may fall under a different agenda item, maybe later in the meeting,
Correct.
that may be an appropriate time to bring up some of these points.
I agree.
So, getting back to the director. Okay.
So
While
with
Commissioner Edwards is
that
assigned
being
to
said, as the chair of this board, Commissioner Sanford, I think a lawyer has spoken. The agenda item on the floor is the director's report. Do you have any questions directly for the director?
Yes, I have.
Okay, can we
asking them now.
okay, directly specifically to the director, thank you.
So, just because we went off on a bit of a tangent, you had said.
Not we.
That you had not done any checks to ensure there are no conflicts of interest.
Correct.
Okay. It has been brought to my attention that I may or may not be remiss in my duties as a commissioner. So, in my duty as a commissioner of this housing authority, I would like to bring to your attention that members of this committee that you appointed have possible conflicts of interest. Can you help me to understand what the next step is?
I would request that you put that in writing to me and identify who and where and what. Let's not play a guessing game. Let's not play a maybe game. Like any, I think, board of commissioner, or I'd ask any part of the public or my staff. If you've got that concern, let's put it on the table.
Put it in writing.
Yeah. Please do.
Frank?
Excuse me, you're addressing me.
Okay. Well, Director Greco, would you please inform Frank that there is a possible conflict of interest with one of his colleagues?
Well, he's allowed to, he's heard you.
Okay.
And as
I don't know.
as I've said, please inform me of it. And tell me who, what, and where. Give me some detail.
You are informed now, and I will give you more detail later.
Thank you.
And I will communicate that to council.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now,
So can the record show that he will put this in writing to the attorney as well as the director?
well, I will provide it to the attorney.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, because there's no communication with the director, you're right.
So,
Thank you.
Yeah. Big time.
we're still on the professional procurement committee.
From the professional?
On the professional procurement committee. When can this commissioner and the rest of the board expect minutes for the September 30th meeting?
Well, I'll talk to the committee, see what they have, and go from there.
And could you please ask the chair of that committee if when those minutes might be available?
Well, I will report back to you on that, please.
So, I mean, the chair of the committee is right here.
That's right.
And he said he'll report back to you.
Can you at least ask him?
Commissioner, come on. No, not right now. I'm
Okay.
saying that I should ask him, and we should report back to you.
Do you expect an answer? Do you expect to give me an answer, say, within the next 2 weeks?
Oh,
You have 14 days to answer, Director, may I
That's right.
remind you?
Okay. So, you'll give me an answer, so even if I wasn't a commissioner anymore, right?
That's what happened.
Well, if you're a commissioner, I would give you the answer.
And
Yeah.
if I wasn't a commissioner?
Oh, I don't know. I have to think about that when you're putting me on the spot. I don't know, Commissioner. I don't know.
I think
don't
that
know?
it would be
No.
Oprah. And
Council,
you have 30 days to read.
Council, if I make a request of the director while I'm still a commissioner, does the director still have to fulfill that request to me?
Would you like me to answer that question?
Yes.
While you're a commissioner, of course.
I see. So while I'm a commissioner, I'm entitled to answers to questions that I make as a commissioner.
In accordance with the established policy of this board, correct?
And
Which are questions
what about
that you
established
have?
policy of New Jersey State?
You'd have to be more specific, Commissioner.
You're entitled to an Oprah request too.
Right. If you're a member of the public, you're entitled to make an Oprah request. And
That was not my question. I'm not concerned about as being a member of the public. I'm
okay, I
concerned about
just wasn't sure because your question was
Well, then,
extremely.
the question then goes to state that if you have a question for the director and you put it in writing, he has 14 business days to respond to you. And that is the policy of this board, which was passed by the entire board.
So during your report, Director Echo, it was mentioned that there is that a property, Block 35, has been entered into a redevelopment zone. How does that relate to this housing authority and this redevelopment plan?
That actually wasn't, the director, I'm sorry, but that actually wasn't stated by the director. I think that was stated by Councilman Russo, so I think that would actually be addressed to Councilman Russo.
Oh, okay.
The
Well,
director didn't state that.
so
Am
the
I right?
director can't answer the question?
No. I mean, Director, do you want to?
Yeah, I think our development would be significantly enhanced by the ability for us to acquire other property in Hoboken that we could also build on. And once we have a developer partner and a development agreement, I think that to expand our footprint, if you will, would be a very positive development for our redevelopment efforts.
Okay. You think it would be a positive development to acquire Block 35?
Absolutely.
Why?
Because we could build not only one new building, we could build 2 new buildings at the beginning. And it would speed up our process. It would give us more land to use. We would be able to, in the first phase, move more of our current residents, so it could possibly expand our second phase. I think it's not a mystery that if you're starting a redevelopment project and you have more land, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
If we acquire that land, would that not increase the cost of this redevelopment project?
Yeah.
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 Are we looking to acquire any other parcels of land within the city of Hoboken?
I'm open to anyone that recommends a parcel of land to us. I would be more than happy to look at any parcel that's recommended to us.
So in addition to Block 35, are there any other current plans to acquire land for this redevelopment?
There's no specific plans at this time.
None whatsoever?
No.
Okay. So I'll move on. The New Jersey Smart Growth Award. What is it?
There is a group in New Jersey of professionals, they're architects, planners, that caucus, and it's a nonprofit organization, as I understand it, that take a look at development projects throughout New Jersey and give an award for excellence in development.
And since we were awarded this award, is that correct?
Yes.
What was the criteria? How did we get this award? What was the reason? What did they tell us?
The city got it, am I right?
I've got to be honest, I don't know of any city participation here. What I do know is that they emailed me and said, congratulations, we've heard about your project, we've taken a look at the strategic plan online, the redevelopment plan, and we are incredibly impressed and would like to award you this award.
So we didn't apply for it?
No.
It just appeared?
Yes.
That's the way it works.
Yeah.
That's the way it works?
That's the way it works, yeah. They find candidates and then they award.
I see. So I'm curious why we were awarded this plan.
Maybe you should reach out to them.
Yeah,
okay, that's a great idea. Who should I reach out to?
I think the simple answer is that it's an excellent plan. That's the simple
Well,
answer.
I just
And I provided you, yes, I provided you with a website.
So the chair made an excellent suggestion. Who at the New Jersey Future Smart Growth Awards should I reach out to for more information about the award?
There's a website and it will tell you all their
Absolutely,
contact
it's
information.
njfuture.org, Commissioner Sanford. They have all the information. It says, through the Smart Growth Awards, the projects and plans represent some of the best examples of substantial growth and redevelopment in the state.
Okay.
So obviously they feel like that's what we have.
You said you received an email.
Yeah.
Was there a person that gave you that email?
Yeah, of course.
And who was it?
I don't know.
You
Put
don't
it in writing and he'll respond to you in court.
I don't know this person
This
personally.
prestigious award that we're receiving. I'd
Could
like
we
to know-
move on? Any further questions?
I still have
think
questions.
we gave you the site for you to go back to
I do.
and ask any
I
questions.
do. Yeah.
And we've been through this already. If you've got a question,
Absolutely.
email me the question and I will get you the answer. I don't.
I told my wife I'll be.
May I finish? May I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have my laptop in front of me. I don't have all of my contacts in front of me. There is a person from that organization that contacted me. I don't do business, I hope you can understand. Somebody I don't do business with every day, I don't have every name in my brain. But if you request it in writing to me, I'll get it to you. Thank you.
Who authorized you to accept this award?
No.
No one authorized.
No.
Okay. So how are you able to accept the award if the board did not authorize you to accept the award?
Because I'm the executive director of the Hoboken Housing Authority, and I've got responsibility administratively to accept things like this.
All right, quiet, please.
Thank
And
you.
Can you get off the phone?
You have a responsibility to accept awards like this.
I have the authority to.
You have the authority.
Yes.
May I ask Matt, I'm sorry, Matt, is there something against that where the director should not, or does that fall under his duty?
Not that I'm aware of. That would
Thank
fall
you. I
under
just
one of
wanna
the
make sure
everyday
that that's
duties of
on the
an
record
executive
as well.
director of a
Thank
housing
you.
authority. You're welcome.
Well, I'm curious because it does.
It was just answered. It's under
I
his
didn't even ask the
administrative duties.
So, You're going to accept this award
Yep.
with the chair.
Absolutely, we are.
Right.
Proudly.
Proud?
Absolutely.
Okay. Are you aware that former executive director Carmelo Garcia?
Again, Director, can we please stop this right now? I would like to put on the record that I think this was addressed last month. We are not allowed to have, if you would like to go back and name specific people, this does not have anything to do with the entire board. We will not allow you to do that. If you want to do that on your own, Matt, can you go back and
Yeah,
kind
Madam
of...
Chair, I'd be happy to give similar advice to what I gave last month. I believe the line of questioning and the individual that you were about to bring up for discussion, any discussion of that individual by the board would be appropriately done in closed session. If you choose to have that discussion outside of closed session, you are opening up yourself to liability for having that discussion. If you would like me to explain that, again, that would best be done in closed session.
Okay. Motion to enter closed session so that I can hear the explanation from council.
And I'd be happy to provide it.
Would it just be this?
No second.
There's no second.
Jeannie, could you please second the motion?
No.
Commissioner Edwards, could you please second the motion? No. Vice Chair Seitzman, could you please second the motion?
No, thank you.
I just want to put on the record, okay, seriously, there's no motion, so it doesn't go, we will not go into closed session, but with all due respect.
Hold on, let her finish.
Why are you pointing at me?
Excuse me,
You have to let her finish.
excuse me, Commissioner Stanford, I'm speaking to you. With all due respect, I think you were part of the entirety of what happened in the past. I'm not going into details. So the fact that you're asking us to go into closed session seems like absolute nonsense. Okay? So with that being said, we are not going into closed session. I ask you to move on with any other further questions that you may have that do not pertain to this subject particularly. And if you do, we can move on. If not, I would like to move on to the resolutions.
Well, Madam Chair, Commissioner Russo just made a gesture that he could answer the question.
No, I said you could ask me if we can go into closed session.
Okay. Well, can we go into closed session?
No.
Take motion?
No. I just wanted to answer you.
You just wanted to answer me, okay. Well, why not? I mean, what's...
I think, again,
why not?
you have proudly stated in this meeting of everything that you have done as a commissioner in the past and now. There's no reason for us to go back and forth with you. I think you know the answer. You're just trying to stall this meeting as you do every month. And I would respect you more, actually, Commissioner Stanford. And I'm talking now not as a chair. I'm talking as a resident. I would actually respect you more if you did more, if you put all this effort that you put into stalling these meetings on a monthly basis into actually helping each and every one of our residents, I would respect you more. But at this time, all you do is show up once a month for 3 hours and do nothing else the rest of the month. And I don't care what comes out of this. I'm not talking as a chair, I'm talking to you as a resident. And I think you should respect that because I live in this community. And I live day in and day out. You don't even have the respect for our residents that this meeting starts at 7 p.m. And at 7 p.m. we sit here and we listen to the actual complaints of every resident. And you make it your business to show up at 7:30 at every meeting after that session is done. So unfortunately, yes, I do not have respect for you as a resident, as a resident. As a board, I know I must have respect for you, and I try my best to give it to you. But at times, you really, really do push the buttons. I don't know what you're trying to prove here every month to these residents. They're not fools. They're not fools. They come here. The people you see here, they come here every month. And you're sitting here as if you care. You just sat here and put 12 resolutions last month to prevent us from moving forward or doing anything that betters our community, that gives us a better quality of life. So don't sit here month after month and act as if you care.
Well, if you have your way, I won't be here next month.
Well, it's not my way. It's the residents' way.
Right.
Do you understand how many times I've asked? I don't have any personal issue towards you. I don't. No, I do not. I don't have. I actually speak of you very fondly. I remember the Sanford that when I came on this board, the Sanford that actually cared, the Sanford that listened to the residents, the Sanford that actually did something, that was part of committees, that did stuff for our residents. The Sanford I know today that won't speak to their colleagues, that don't listen to residents, that disrespects our residents, because every other commissioner makes it their business to be here at 7 o'clock. You make it yours to be here at 7:30 after public portion. Okay? So with that being said, so what I'm saying is, I have to have respect for you as my colleague, but as a resident and somebody who lives this life day in and day out, I'm sorry, I absolutely don't. And I stand by it, and I will always stand by that.
So, Madam Chair, I listen to the residents, and I
You do not. You listen to a few that you may be on your side.
I listen to the residents. I protect those residents. And I listened to the residents when they brought to this board's attention the existence of your illegal doing business.
Of course, that would be your doorway. Of course, that would be your doorway. By all means, as I said, I encourage you, if you have any information that may be illegal, you know where to go, what to do, I encourage you to do it. I have absolutely nothing else to say about this. And again, I think that Matt made this very, very clear that if you want to go into closed session and discuss it, we absolutely can. But I will refuse for you to actually speak about it in public, because I think we've been going through this for 6 months.
Wonderful.
Now.
Motion to go into closed session to discuss the chair's alleged illegal business. Madam Chair, would you like to second the motion? You said you welcome it.
Absolutely not. And my colleagues, if they feel that I'm doing something illegal, by all means. But if you do not, by all means. It's your choice. But I will not second it. But absolutely. Go ahead.
I would like to move on to resolutions.
Absolutely. Can we move on to motion?
No, there is a motion on the floor.
Okay, is there a second?
No, sir. Move on to
No
Chair
second.
Edwards, you don't want to second the motion?
You can ask me.
Madam Vice Chair, you don't want to second the motion? Reverend Forbes, would you like to second the motion?
You can ask me.
Yeah, I'll get to you. Don't worry.
Commissioner, we can't hear you, Commissioner Forbes. Would you like to second the motion to go into closed session to speak about the chair and her illegal business?
No.
Do I have to respond?
You can respond, no. It's your choice.
Or me staying quiet, should be no.
If you would like to say no, that's on your, that's up to you. I can't tell
Stay quiet too, Rev.
Jeannie, would you like to second the
No.
motion?
You ready?
Okay, so moving forward.
You
ready? Hey, okay. You want to second the motion?
No.
I just feel like it's so sad. I'm going to be honest with you, as a resident and sitting here as the chair, it's so sad that this meeting has turned into a circus.
Sad. For the first time in
It
like
really
4
has, it
years,
really is.
Commissioner
It's a
Russo and I are
circus.
laughing at the same time. That's not sad.
No, I think it's a circus, and I think it's an embarrassment to this housing authority.
It's an
that
absolute
that as commissioners that we would, even act like this or entertain you at this point. So if you like to move on,
This is not
we can
entertaining.
move on.
This is not entertaining. This is my duty.
Your
As a commissioner of the Housing
Well, it's our
Authority,
duty to vote on
it's my
And it's our duty to vote
To
or not
address
vote, and your motion has failed, so can we move forward?
brought by the public
Okay.
to this board.
Okay, so moving forward, do you have any further questions because your motion failed?
Resolution to approve the minutes.
I do have additional questions.
Okay, can we move forward? I think as a board, we kind of have to stipulate a certain amount of time, because the fact that we've been on this for 45 minutes is really.
Well, why don't we go through the resolutions and then we can continue, so the residents don't have to wait here all night to get
All right,
through the...
all right. How about this? I will limit myself to one more subject, and then we can move on.
Absolutely.
That works.
Earlier in your report, Director, you had mentioned I believe it was the housing for Hoboken, the members of that board, that right now you're accepting applications from the public. Is that a correct recollection?
Yes.
Have we received any applications to serve on that board?
Was that here? We received any this week? Okay, he says we haven't received any. I've had a couple calls of interest that people have said they're going to, but we don't have them yet.
And when we do, doesn't it have to come before the board for us to vote on it?
Anyone put on that committee, as a trustee, has to be appointed by this board.
Thank you.
And
Just received one application.
One?
oh, great.
This week?
Just right now.
Oh, okay, thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
who is that applicant?
Mr. Soleil, he just walked over to me.
A private member of the public that doesn't wish his name to be mentioned until he is a
That's
proper
correct.
member of that board or said agency.
Thank you.
As a point of order to assist the recorder, who was the gentleman that just spoke?
Manuel Rivera Soler.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great.
So, I still got questions.
Oh, you said one more subject. That was it?
Yeah, on this subject. So, we just received an application just now. How many open positions are there? Is it just the one?
One.
Just one?
I would point out there are currently no open positions. The members continue to serve until replacements are appointed.
Okay. And who are the current members?
There are 3 commissioner members. One is the chair automatically. The other 2 are selected at the annual reorganization meeting by vote of this board. Correct me if I'm wrong, Director, but they are currently Commissioner Seitzman and Commissioner Edwards. And then there are 2 community trustees who cannot be members of this board, and their terms roll on a 2-year basis, I believe. So those are the applications that are currently being accepted, the community trustee positions.
So,
Whoops.
Actually, it's just one of those, right?
Angel's gonna get it.
I'm sorry, it was just one of those, I
Well,
missed
Sammy's gonna get it.
what you just
I'll wait
said,
till the
Commissioner
microphone.
Edwards.
Daniel's gonna get it.
Commissioner Edwards, I just missed what you said.
And
I said,
Just wait a second, go ahead.
I said, actually, there's just one open position. April Harris fulfills the role of the second community member.
And that's correct. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you.
The 2 roll on, I believe, an alternating year basis. And Trustee Harris's term has not expired yet. And the other position is currently open. Well, is currently accepting applications.
So Trustee Harris, that trustee's term is still ongoing.
Correct.
And when does that end?
I don't have that off the top of my head.
Okay. And then the person who is in the 5th trustee position, who is that presently, I suppose, on a rollover basis?
I believe that was Aaron's position, if I'm not mistaken. It was.
Actually, it was Gene Rodriguez.
Yes, that's what it is,
Sorry,
and that's
Gene.
correct. Thank you for refreshing my
Rodriguez,
memory.
thank you.
Commissioner Lewitt was one of the commissioner trustees, and Commissioner Rodriguez, before she returned to the board, was one of the community trustees. However, upon being sworn in again as a member of the board, she vacated that seat. So there is currently an open seat. I stand corrected. I apologize for that.
So there are presently only 4 members of the committee.
Correct.
When did that vacation of that seat, what was the date?
I believe it was the May Housing Authority meeting when Commissioner Rodriguez was sworn in. As a commissioner of this board, just to be clear.
May of this year?
Correct.
And have there been any meetings of this, of the trustees for Housing for Hoboken after May?
Yes, there
I was
has.
going to say, I'll turn that back over
Yes, there has.
to the director.
How many?
Oh, I'd have to look, probably 3 or 4.
No, just 2.
Just 2, thank you.
Okay. And were minutes taken at those meetings?
Yes,
Okay. When can I receive those minutes?
as soon as you request them.
I'm requesting them now.
And I have a chance.
And you will request them in writing.
I don't know how many times we have to say this, Commissioner. Give it to me in writing and I will respond to you. I don't know what's missing there from your consciousness.
Well, what's missing is that in the past, when I made requests at these meetings and you fulfilled those requests, and now when I make requests at the meetings, you do not fulfill those requests. That's what's missing.
I totally disagree with your representation of that, since you have been so confrontational and so argumentative and so legalistic. We clearly evolved to a point where I've asked you to put that in writing, and I believe you have insisted on going just through our attorney. So you've made things very complicated. Commissioner, we used to sit in my office and have lunch together and talk about things, and you've made it evolve into this confrontational nonsense. I don't know why or what your agenda is, but where we have landed is please put it to me in writing and I will respond to you. We've been through this territory at a number of meetings so far. So please, put it in writing, simple, and I will respond to you.
Within 14 business days.
Yes, thank you. Simple.
Next.
I still have a question. I mean, the director made that superfluous statement, and I think I should be able to respond to it. He asked me a question, and I'd like to respond to it, especially since this might be my last meeting.
Oh, God. Okay, Director, Commissioner Stanford.
You have, we used to have a good working relationship.
We did.
I agree. And unfortunately, that relationship has suffered. I no longer trust you, even though I hired you. And
I'm so glad you
that really does sadden. But I do need to take responsibility for the mistake of hiring you.
Well, thank you for that comment. Wow. Because it saddens me too. We used to be very productive together.
I can no longer be productive with you.
Well, yeah.
Because
Clearly.
this redevelopment plan that has been presented to the public has serious problems. Problems that you refuse to consider, refuse to address. The background, you asked me to explain myself, and I'm explaining myself. When I started to ask questions about this redevelopment and request information, that is exactly the point when you started to withhold documents. And then when you started to withhold documents and I called you out at these public meetings, then this board adopted policies that would make it even harder for me to obtain these documents.
I just want to put on the record that that was absolutely not the case. I think the case was, and I want this on the record clearly, that the reason these policies were put in board was because not only was the director, but our staff was receiving emails requesting information immediately. And when it wasn't provided immediately, then it became a problem. And that's why the policy was passed where all information that was requested would need to go through the executive director, and he would have 14 business days to actually respond to any, not just you, Commissioner Stanford, let me just make this clear, to any commissioner on this board requesting information. So I just want to make sure that this is on the record, that what Commissioner Stanford is trying to say was that this was actually made specifically for him, this policy, and that was not the case. This actual policy is for every single commissioner on this board.
Well, unfortunately, I thank you for putting that on the record. Unfortunately, it's not accurate. The adoption of this policy has prevented this commissioner from doing his duty. Furthermore, I am still waiting for information that I have requested in writing, information that has never been provided to me.
I sincerely disagree with that. That is just not true. I've asked you to summarize that information, give it to me. It has not prevented you in any way, shape, or form of getting that information. And I have serious problems with you writing my staff a long email at 1 o'clock demanding information by 4 o'clock. It's just impossible. And that is intimidating to my staff. I have a duty to protect my staff. And that's why that information must come through me. And it's clear that there is a change in your approach. It's clear that everyone else here sees that I'm honest and open with this process. If you have problems and you think there are serious problems with the redevelopment program, bring them up. Don't play this game. Bring them up clearly, and we will investigate them. So let's go from here. It's time to get on with our
I
meeting.
have clearly and repeatedly requested the Garvini invoices for the emergency procurement that you had requested several months ago, and I still have not received anything related to Garvini plumbing.
And I would like for you to resend me that email so I can see it. I've asked you that a number of times.
It wasn't sent in an email, it was done during a meeting prior to the adoption of the chair's policy targeting this commission.
And I've asked you to
I again stand to say that I have never targeted this commissioner, that any policy that has been made has not been made only for this commissioner, has been made for every single commissioner on this board.
Move to resolutions?
When can I get the Garvini invoices and the Garvini RFPs?
Can I once again repeat? Once again, give me the request in writing and I'll respond to you.
Thank you.
And an email.
Can we move forward now? Can we go to resolutions?
Yes, please.
Resolution number 2024-1001, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to approve the meeting minutes for September 12, 2024 regular board meeting.
Motion. Second.
Questions, concerns? Director, call the vote.
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Resolution number 2024-1002, resolution authorizing the payment of the monthly list of bills for the Hoboken Housing Authority.
Motion.
Second.
Point of order, Madam Chair. There are no listed bills in the agenda.
There are.
Not in
No,
mine.
there's not.
I have it here. I think we all received a copy of it, didn't we?
Yes, but it's usually in the
Electronically?
Yeah, it's not in this book?
I have
No, I don't have it either.
You don't have it?
it.
Can I make some copies real quick?
So come back to this one.
Can we table this and then come back to it, continue with the resolutions? Matt, is that okay?
Sure, you could make a motion to
Motion to change the.
suspend the agenda
suspend the
to move on to 3 with the intent to revisit.
Okay, so motion to move on to resolution 3 with the intent to come back to resolution 02, correct?
Correct.
2.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Director, all in favor?
Yes.
You should
Add it to my tab.
Aye.
just to be clear, you should take.
Director, could you call the
David
roll?
Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
Yes, Director.
Erica
Can you make sure it's
Seitzman.
added to my vote yes tab?
Erica,
Yes.
please.
Thank you.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Resolution 2024-1003, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken for Harrison Gardens security enhancement.
Motion. Second.
Questions, concerns?
I will say that this is one of the questions by the community here. If you'll remember, we got a special grant from HUD to do security enhancements and improvements at Harrison Gardens. It's only for Harrison Gardens, for that grant. We have moved ahead with the security cameras on each floor. We've moved ahead with doing the stairwells. We're moving ahead now with the courtyard project. And as we bid, yay, they came in lower than expected. So we had extra money in that project. It can only be spent there, and we need to move ahead and spend that money. We did go to a state contract approach on this, and we are able to get through this some incredibly great upgrades to our video and camera system. We're able to get several cameras on the exterior of the Harrison Gardens, in the trash compactor rooms, boiler rooms, some other community rooms there that were not afforded in the original bid. We didn't think we could afford them. Our camera systems are all listed here. We're able to improve our network connectivity, the intra-building security network between buildings that wind up at Harrison, and we are able to help the network connectivity between us and the police. We are able to upgrade those. There are viewing stations we can upgrade at both us and the police department, and we're able to do a security access gate replacement at Harrison. That access gate with the security arms has got a lot of time on it. It's been hit by a couple cars, etc. So this gives us an opportunity to go ahead with that. With beam sensors, contract sensors, etc., heater kits, one of the problems we've had with the system is when it freezes. We've had some malfunctions. So we are glad to propose this to use up almost all, if not all, of the extra funds we've gotten in this special grant from HUD.
Thank you, Director. Director, I just have one question in reference to this. Will there be cameras on the roof?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just asking because
on the walkway roof? Yes.
Because with that being said, I've received complaints that there is dog feces from one side to the other of the building.
Yeah.
So there's cameras, could we address this? And if it's residents doing it, then we need to hold them accountable.
We agree. And so we're can't wait to have those cameras working up there.
Thank you. Any further questions, concerns?
Yes, I have questions. How was this resolution, this contract sourced? Was it done through a bid process?
There is an ability for us to go to what's a state contract. So it was sourced through the state contract procedure. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, sorry to correct you, sir. It is a county cooperative. It's a Somerset County cooperative that it is being procured to, that the Housing Authority is a member of. We became a member of that cooperative in January of this past year.
Director, can I ask the CFO questions?
Let's address them to me and we'll go from there.
Director, why go through this co-op, or could you please ask the CFO, why go through this co-op and not the normal bid process?
I think I can answer that. There's a couple issues here. One is this is a normal process. We do this regularly. We go through co-ops regularly. This board has approved a number of contracts through co-ops. The co-op system that is part of our procurement policy and part of HUD's policy and also approved through state law is that a co-op does the bidding in advance. And they do the work on the bidding, they get bids, they get the lowest price, they qualify under our procurement rules, and then we then have the advantage of them having done that actual bidding process, and then we can latch onto their bids. So it saves us money, and it makes the process much easier for all of us.
Yeah, I mean, allow me to clarify my remarks. So I called it normal because before I was removed from the procurement committee, we did not do co-ops, and I believe my voting record clearly states that I show up to every meeting and vote no on these co-ops precisely because I believe that the Housing Authority is not getting the best possible price.
Excuse me for 1 second. Can somebody shut off your phone? Whoever's got their audio on, can you please shut it? Sorry.
No problem. Did you get everything? Okay.
Yeah. Okay, that's your opinion.
So, we start, could you please ask CFO when we entered into this, I believe you said January,
When we entered into what?
this co-op?
In January,
January. Why this co-op and not another co-op?
because they offer this equipment, they offer this type of equipment that we needed. Some co-ops are focused on repaving and construction work, and some co-ops have other things on their list that are bid out. This co-op happens to have these items that we needed on their co-op.
So are there no other co-ops? Only this co-op that provides this particular service?
There's many other co-ops that may be out there, but we happen to be a member of this co-op, and time is of the essence, and it is time to move ahead. It's perfectly legal, perfectly good, and they are good prices, and we go from there.
Well, that really wasn't my question.
That's my answer.
Okay, you're welcome to answer questions I never asked, but I'd like to have my question answered. The question is, why didn't we go with any of the other co-ops that provide this service?
We're in this co-op.
Yeah, we're in this co-op. Do you
Before
know
we
if there's
entered
any
it.
other co-op,
Before we entered it.
Emil, that have these items?
I don't believe so.
No, we don't know of another co-op. that
We
has
are a
them.
member of other county cooperatives.
Yeah, we are.
We're a member of other national cooperatives, but this cooperative has this data cable installation and related services, which falls under this contract.
I'm trying to understand. There's only one co-op, apparently in the state of New Jersey, that provides this particular service.
There's one co-op that we are a member of that provides this.
And I'm trying to understand how we entered this co-op as opposed to another co-op that provides this
Because
service.
it's the one that pertains to this, am I correct?
Yeah, well, that's true, but in January of 2024, I don't think we could have anticipated exactly what we needed here. When we found out what we were able to do with the remaining funds under this contract, which we didn't know in January, we looked at our co-ops and we found that this co-op that we belong to offers these services, and we moved ahead from there.
Well, so since we're not following the normal process as I understand it,
Your normal process, I think it's unfair to say that we're not following the normal process.
I'm in the middle of my
You
question.
misstated the fact.
Exactly.
Correct.
It's a fact. It is a fact.
It's your normal process,
Yes,
not the
that is
board.
exactly what I said before you interrupted me.
No, it was not what you
This is
said, but go ahead.
the normal process as I understand it,
Okay.
prior to you removing me from the procurement committee.
Well, what she's saying is.
So if I may
You
finish
don't
my
understand
question.
it, she's trying to correct it, so you
If I
do
may finish my
understand.
question.
It is a normal
If I
process.
may finish my question.
Sure, but I want to make sure you have the fact. I don't want you to speak out of ignorance, I want you to speak out of fact.
I am
Understand
speaking,
it.
I'm speaking in
Okay,
fact.
so everyone's trying to help you along that process, so you understand it better.
You know, Commissioner Russo, you are not trying to help. You've never been trying to help me. In fact,
I
you're
help
always
you
in
at
the
every
way.
meeting.
I'm trying to
You
ask
just
a question.
refuse that help constantly.
I'm just trying to ask this
And
question.
that's okay, that's your prerogative.
Director, I may get back to my question. 1 minute.
It's got me, you got filmed in black and white from now on.
Now you gotta call it wrong.
What was the process of entering into this co-op? Did we have to apply? Did we have to contact a certain individual within the co-op or the state? Please walk me through this process that this commissioner is unfamiliar with.
Emil, how do we enter that co-op?
The Somerset County Cooperative has a website, and there are certain procedures that they say you have to follow in order to become a member. And one of them is this board has to adopt a resolution saying we want to become a member. And that happened on January 11th of 2024 via Resolution 2024-103. And that was voted and it was approved. That was submitted to the Somerset County Cooperative, and they gave us an agreement. We signed the agreement, and at that point, we became members of that cooperative.
Was that a unanimous vote?
I don't know.
So, There was this process that was posted. At any point in time, did you interact with an actual person representing this co-op? And I asked that question of him.
Yes.
There were individuals, I don't have their names. I corresponded primarily via email. I sent them electronic copies of the approved resolution. They returned agreements that needed to be signed, and all of those documents are available at the authority.
Well, presumably someone is in charge of this co-op, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Who's in charge of the co-op?
I don't know the name.
So, just moving on a little. With this contract and the process that went about obtaining this contract, who, if anybody, did we interact with at the co-op to obtain this contract?
I think if you were part of committees, you would get that information. Isn't that under one of our committees, right, where we would find out?
Once the co-op publishes the prices that they've received by the bidding, we can then go on to that site and find those prices, and they are guaranteed to be holding those prices. So we don't have to go begging to them to allow us to use those prices. They are ready and willing to do it with this particular contractor. And I should note real quickly, probably the reason you wouldn't have seen this in a procurement committee is because it is a professional procurement committee, and this would have not come to a professional procurement committee. These contracts are physical improvement contracts, capital improvement contracts, and they don't go to the professional procurement committee. They come directly to the board.
Okay. So what I'm trying to understand is how this particular vendor was selected.
That particular vendor put in bids to the co-op and won the bids at the co-op.
But how did they, so we have a need, correct?
Right.
So how did that need that we identified translate into us coming into contact with this vendor?
We go it backwards, Commissioner. I'm serious. The way a co-op works is you participate in the co-op, and then you rely on that co-op to fulfill needs throughout the year as you need them. You don't join a co-op particularly for one specific need. You join a co-op because the pricing of that co-op is usually better than an open bid process. And the state allows it because of that. And the federal government, in this case, also allows it because of that.
I'm not getting it backwards. I am trying
you're getting it backwards.
I am trying to understand how we came to this.
And what I'm telling you is, we join the co-op because it's a better situation for the authority for services or goods that we may need throughout the year.
And it so happened that this co-op had something that we needed.
And if I can, Commissioner, I will just add, I don't remember, I apologize, I don't remember whether the word was regular, usual, whatever it was. The use of cooperative purchasing programs is explicitly authorized by this board's procurement policy. It is permitted under HUD regulations. It is permitted under New Jersey law. The thinking behind it is that it saves public bodies time and money to go through the bidding process by something that has been part of sealed bids by another entity that has to be authorized to do business. And this co-op is authorized to do business.
Thank you. So the question has been answered. Can we move on?
I'm not disputing authorization or
Okay, but the question was
legality.
explained and it was answered.
It has not been answered. The question I'm trying to get answered is who, a person that represents this co-op, do we contact? Do we talk to? It's not, or is it just we enter information into computer and then they spit out the vendor? That's
Basically,
it? We never hear from a person at this co-op? Is that what I'm being told here? I know that's what you're telling me, but I'd like the director and Emil, if he was given permission, to tell me that.
I will answer that we can get that information for you. We didn't come prepared with who we talked to there or who we may have emailed there, but we can certainly get that information with you.
Just put it in writing.
Yeah,
14 days.
Of course.
the great part about a co-op is you don't need to go through all of this stuff. This essential contractor won the bid through the co-op, so we're comfortable going ahead with them.
Okay.
Thank you.
So this vendor, who are they again? Unified Technology Partners? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. And as a point of order, I only have the, oh wait, here it is, the resolution. So who is the principal, who is the owner of UTP?
So the senior vice president who signed the proposal is a gentleman by the name of Dan Aloya.
Dan
Dan
Aloya.
Aloya. And how do you spell that?
Dan, D-A-N, Aloya, A-L-O-I-A.
And he is the senior vice president. Who is the president?
I believe the president is Corinne Aloya, C-O-R-I-N, Aloya, same last name.
All right. And presumably related. Okay.
Those are assumptions.
Yeah, so say it, presumably. Are there any other principals? Is it just these two people that own the business?
I don't have an ownership statement.
Who's the administrative assistant?
Do we, so, I'll try to be mindful of council's wording about normal, different, whatever. When we do a competitive bid process, we usually check for who has donated, or if any donations have been done by the owners or principals of the company. Is that a fair recollection from my time on the procurement committee?
I mean, we do that under professional procurement and under regular bidding. Yes?
Correct. The Housing Authority typically asks for a political contribution disclosure statement. Yeah.
So, did we, the Housing Authority, do that in this case?
No, because that is done by the co-op.
Got it. So did the co-op do that?
I believe so, because they are in line with state bidding requirements.
Wonderful. Can you provide this commission with that information, their campaign contributions?
I think maybe you can order it from them.
That's not my question.
Yeah.
We can and you can put the vendor in.
I
Again,
can tell you,
We'll
right?
say everybody that donated.
Oh, okay.
I'm not, question. So we'll certainly take a look and contact them about that and go from there. But again,
Great,
just to repeat, give it to me in writing and we'll respond to you.
great. We're going to contact co-op.
Yes,
Who at the co-op?
yes.
Who at the co-op?
We still don't know.
We still don't know, we've been around this corner.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't know who, I mean, I don't know how you can say you're
I
going to
love
give
the
me the information.
stalling tactics,
don't
but
even
could
know.
we please move forward?
This is not a stalling tactic.
Because we
No,
will
we
go,
hungry.
we
This is-
will
we're
go
being-
back and we will.
I'm trying to address
How
the
much
chair.
time
Give me a
will go
moment. I'm
back
trying to
and
address the
research?
chair. I'm trying to address the chair. The chair made a statement. This is not a stalling tactic.
It is, absolutely. If
This-
you can, you would be more involved through the month, but go ahead.
This, I'm very, this is not a stalling tactic.
Just not with the
This
residents.
is a resolution before us as a board, and I'd like to know who the two principals have donated to.
And I think, I know you asked that of the director, but I believe Commissioner Russo also explained to you that you can actually go on a website,
Go on the website.
enter the vendor, and
Enter the
it'll give you all the
vendor's name,
information you're
And
asking
they'll
for.
give you everybody that person actually donated in the state for probably the last 15, 20 years.
Well,
Thank
the
you.
wonderful thing about oversight as a commissioner and responsibilities.
Just
for
giving you
management-
another option.
Yeah, I understand. That's,
Got you.
but
Beautiful.
I have been directed to go through the executive director. I'm going through the executive director. This is what you want. So I'm asking the executive director to give me this
And
information.
I think he told you he would.
Okay, great.
Great.
So you want to do it, put it in an email, and you'll get it in 14 days.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give it to him in writing.
Oh, I will.
Okay.
Can we move forward now? Resolution number
Hold
2.
on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Director, could you call the roll?
David Edwards,
Yes.
Anthony Forbes,
Yes.
Barbara Reyes,
Yes.
Gene Rodriguez.
Yes.
Michael Russo. Aye. James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Of course. Yes. Resolution number 2024-1004, resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award contract for banking services.
Second.
Question?
Okay, so,
I know them.
how was this RFP, this resolution developed? Which procurement process did it go through?
It went through the Finance and Professional Procurement Committee.
Okay, and should I ask?
You should ask the chair of that committee.
I'm asking the question. Should I ask Frank? Should I ask Emil? Should I ask you?
You should actually ask the chair of the committee, who is Mr. Edwards, Commissioner Edwards.
Okay.
Fine with me.
All right. Chair Edwards. Hello.
Hello.
So I know I asked you a question earlier, and you're still thinking about if you're going to answer it. You ready to answer some questions now about this?
You ready to ask him?
I am. You think we'll get through it without being
Could you guys
interrupted?
just talk a little bit louder? Just so you're both talking that
Can
way,
we just
please?
get to the point, ask the questions and answer?
I'm trying to have a
Oh, but we can do
convivial
that after the meeting.
conversation with my colleague.
We can do that after the
See,
meeting.
we couldn't be interrupted. See, we couldn't go without being interrupted. Okay.
You're so rude.
All right,
So-
I need to have quiet in the audience, please.
So, Commissioner Edwards, could you please walk me through how we selected, or the committee selected, PNC Financial Services?
I'm sorry, did you say
PNC.
Yes, correct.
If I could, the committee recommended. The committee didn't select anybody. This board is in the process of selecting someone.
Thank you for that clarification.
You're welcome.
We received RFP responses from these 5 organizations. Following the terms of the RFP, each of the members of the committee and Director Greco reviewed those proposals, voted on them, gave them merit. There's an evaluation form that designates certain points for certain parts of the proposal. Each of us completed that, and in reviewing it, at the end, PNC was the one that came out with the highest score.
I see. So what were the, so all of these other 4, BCB Community Bank, Connect One Bank, PNC Bank, Providence Bank, and Provident Bank, Valley National Bank, they all submitted proposals and the committee reviewed them?
Correct.
And who is on the procurement committee?
Procurement committee is Chairwoman Reyes, Commissioner Russo, and myself are the 3 board members.
Okay. So, since it's been such a long time since I've been on that procurement committee, how does the committee decide their recommendation? Like, do they take an aggregate of the scores, or do you guys do a vote amongst yourselves?
It's an aggregate of the scores.
And do you recall what the scores were for each of these?
Off the top of my head, no.
Was it close with any of them? Were there a top 2 or top 3?
Well, there's obviously a top 2 or top 3 because there's 5 proposals.
Right.
Well,
it's not going to be a top 5, right?
Right. Well, there will be a top 5. There is actually a top 5. Just answering your question.
Yeah. You're doing a good job, by the way.
Thank you.
I encourage you, please. You know, I know you're new to this, so please, keep
He's
going.
very well versed.
I don't know what to tell you. I see she interrupted me. I don't know what to tell you. The scores, there was, PNC didn't win by 1 point. It was, I don't remember what the differential was. There was a huge difference between the 5th and the 1st, but it was clear that PNC was the choice of the 3 based on the aggregate.
You could request that as well, Commissioner Sanford, if you'd like the evaluation form.
Can I request it at this meeting, or does it have to be in writing?
In writing.
I see.
14 days.
Yeah, 14 days, okay. So, we're going with PNC Financial. Is the service that they're providing any different than, say, the other 4? I mean, why this particular one? Just because of the aggregate?
The RFP lists the criteria, its experience, its pricing. There's a variety of criteria in the evaluation form. Each are given percentages to come to a total of 100. So in the aggregate, the scores for PNC came out higher than the other 4.
And that's it? We're not, none of them provide a superior service that
Well, again,
PNC.
they provided the superior product for us as far as we were concerned, which were components of their experience, their pricing, their past interaction with us. Again, it's all laid out in the evaluation form. So it was a variety of their reporting, again, 4 or 5 different criteria, and in the aggregate, each of them were scored. This was the best response.
Can you share with the board and this commissioner, what was the difference in score from PNC Bank to the next highest score?
As I said, you asked that question before and I answered it, and I said it was more than 1 point differential. It was not nip and tuck, but I don't, and again, if you want to, you can, as I understand, you can request the evaluation and you can see all the scores that were provided by each of the 3 of us in the aggregate total.
And finally, similar to questions that I had asked earlier, was a check performed by the CFO or the director or the procurement committee as to who had made donations from PNC Bank?
That's part of I believe that's part of the I don't remember, I believe it's part of the application process. And so there are forms attached to each that does list that information.
Excuse me, Commissioner Edwards, I'm a little distracted. It seems like Vice Chair Seitzman is laughing, and I'd like to know if everything's okay. Yeah? No, that's not an answer. We want to have one for the record. No? You're not going to say anything? You're just going to... Okay. Interesting. Thank you, Commissioner Edwards.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. That's all.
Thank you. Can we call the vote?
David Edwards.
Yes.
Anthony Forbes.
Yes.
Barbara Reyes.
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez.
Yes.
Michael Russo.
Aye.
James Sanford.
No.
Erica Seitzman.
Yes. Resolution number 2024-1002, resolution authorizing the permanent monthly list of bills of the Hoboken Housing Authority.
Motion.
Second. Questions, concerns?
Just a point of order, we're doing the list of bills because I thought the next resolution is the boiler replacement.
That's right, I'm sorry, I actually skipped it, I'm sorry, I thought we were done. So can we do 02 and then we'll go back to 05?
Yeah, there's a motion and second. You
Okay.
can go
Thank
back
you.
to 02 and then we can just move forward to
Perfect,
05.
thank you. So list of bills, there's a motion and a second,
Correct.
question?
Yeah, I do have questions because I just received it.
No, it was
I don't think that's not,
It was
I don't
not in the
think,
packet.
it was in the packet that was emailed to every single commissioner.
As I just said, and Commissioner Edwards backed me up, that it was not in this packet.
It was not in the physical packet, but it was in the electronic packet.
Yes, and
Let's put that on the record.
Let's put it on the record. And electronically, there were 2 emails, I believe, sent by the staff, and I wish I could ask them questions, but I
We
just
don't
want to
oversee
clarify.
them, we oversee the director.
I don't. I didn't claim to. But
Your
there
questions,
were 2
your
different
que-
emails.
your questions,
bills.
Commissioner,
So
regarding the
I'd
list
like
of
a little bit
bills?
of time to review the list of bills here, because I just received it. Is that okay?
Obviously, I think actually it's a problem because we all received this,
Can you give me
3
2
days
minutes?
ago.
Can you give me 2 minutes?
2
to
minutes,
quickly read through?
correct, 2 minutes.
You want to time me?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, got you.
Madam Chair.
Want to vote on the other one, yeah?
Because then we're gonna have to go back and give them another 2 minutes to review it again.
Are we on the record? Can I ask a question? Are we on the record still?
We're still on the record.
While we're waiting, can we bring up something else, or it has to be on this?
It should be on this resolution.
Okay.
One minute mark.
Yeah, 1 minute.
Yeah, 1 minute more.
Well, thank you, guys.
I'll give you the countdown.
Yeah.
I got it.
You want to count it down?
I got it.
It'll be my last meeting.
Oh, yeah.
Ding. Ding.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Ding.
Yeah, we do, the timers. Could we call the vote, Director, or questions, concerns?
Well, no, we can't call the vote. I have questions.
Okay, so can we?
So, we have an upcoming resolution for Silva Mechanical Services. That's the award of emergency contract.
That's not what we're on,
I know
Director.
it's not.
It doesn't relate to the list of bills.
It does,
Okay.
because Silva, I mean, you've had more time to look at this than I had. Silva is in the list of bills.
Okay,
So that's why I'm asking. Is that okay? Can I go on?
yes.
All right.
Just wanted to make sure we understood each other.
So the resolution, Silva Mechanical Services, says, I think, $48,636. Can I get permission to ask Emma that question?
Director, could you answer the question?
Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then on the amended list of bills that I was just handed maybe 3 to 5 minutes ago, it says...
Again, I want to state on the record that you were not just handed this, you were personally handled this, but you were actually sent this over 3-4 days ago.
That's not
So-
correct, it's not in my agenda. But if I may finish
Sure,
my question. In this amended, on page 2, it says Silva Mechanical Services, $39,434.50. So therefore, my question is, why are these two separate charges, or why is there a difference between the two charges?
Probably not for the same service.
And you can answer that.
So the payment on the list of bills is for a project that is currently underway that is to the same contractor. Yes, Silva's Mechanical Services. They are doing the boiler replacement and their ancillary equipment at Monroe Gardens, 221 Jackson Street. This is the second payment application. This was a sealed bid process that we did bid out, and that contract is nearing the completion. I think the last component the director previously mentioned is there was a part that they're waiting on, should be delivered, and it should be wrapping up. But that is at Monroe Gardens.
At Monroe Gardens.
The resolution that, I forget, we haven't got to it yet.
Exactly, that we'll be going
We'll be going to that. So that is for a boiler replacement at Andrew Jackson Gardens, 401 Marshall Drive. It's another property, it's another building, another
property,
boiler.
again. Another
Totally
property.
separate.
Totally separate, two different charges.
Two different contracts, two different buildings? Yes, two different.
And when did the board approve that sealed bid?
I don't know that one off the top of my head. I would have to go back to my records, but I would have to say earlier in the year, because there was, I would say like February, March, April, it was this year, but I don't know the exact month that the contract was awarded, but it did go through the sealed bid process. It came to this board, it was approved. There was a larger payment application that was previously paid, and this is the second payout.
Got it. And remind me again, how does the sealed bid process work? Oh, I'm sorry, I asked him a question. Is it okay if I ask him that question?
I think we went over this question
Yeah.
before.
No,
This is just
we did not
redundant.
go over this.
So let me answer this. The sealed bid process would be used with us developing specifications on a project. Once those specifications are developed, it would then go out and be advertised. We would also solicit anybody we know that's on our list that does this type of work. We would ask them to submit a sealed bid. Those sealed bids would then be opened and evaluated, sent to the attorney for checking of their background information and all of the appropriate legal documentation. Then a contract would, it would come to the board for approval and a contract would be let.
Good. Who from this authority was involved in that sealed bid process? You said the attorney, so I presume, Matt, you were involved?
So the people that are primarily responsible, the person that's primarily responsible for a sealed bid process is me, the contracting officer and executive director, and the person of my staff that's primarily responsible is Emma. And then we work with the attorney's office to be sure that everything is legal.
Which is General Counsel Fitzpatrick?
Yes.
And Matt, were you the one who handled this?
No, it would be their team. So it would be either Harold and or Matt Fitzpatrick.
Right, well, that's what I'm getting at. Was it
Yeah.
Harold or was it Matt?
I don't know. We have to look back.
May I ask Matt whether he did it?
It's been 6 or 8 months. No? You know?
Well, if it's been
I don't
6 or
think
8
it
months,
makes
why is it on the agenda now?
Because we're talking about the sealed bid process from months ago. You're asking me about a sealed bid process that was open months ago. That was done months ago.
I'm trying to understand why we're approving this now versus earlier.
Because we're approving a payment on the list of bills to them from this contract that was made 6, 8 months ago.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, that's why.
A payment.
Yes.
So we approve the contract, they've
Calm
done the
down.
work. I'm on call. They've done the work. I don't know how much clearer I could make it. They had a contract 6, 8 months ago. They've done work, we're paying them, and your expectation that I would remember which of the attorney staff worked on this particular project 6 or 8 months ago is ludicrous.
It's not ludicrous.
It was 6, 8 months ago.
You can answer the question and say you don't know.
I have answered.
Fine.
I have
problem.
answered.
It's okay.
Well,
So,
it hasn't
you
been
don't
okay
know.
with you
It's okay.
because you're.
May I
I
ask?
just had you both talking at the same time, please, can one of
Go
you?
ahead. You know, Director, please, go first.
You're indicating that I should know that. You're indicating that we're making a resolution on a contract now. We're not making a resolution on a contract now, Commissioner. We are making a payment on a contract now.
Is it okay if I speak now? So, no, I'm not indicating it. I'm just trying to understand the question. Who knows it? You say you don't know? Fine, you don't know. Therefore, my next question is, may I ask counsel if he remembers who at Fitzpatrick and Waterman worked on the sealed bid?
I would not direct him to answer that because it is Fitzpatrick and Waterman that worked on it. And thank you very much.
Why would you direct him not to answer that question?
Because his law firm did it.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I'd like to gain a little more insight and ask Fitzpatrick and Waterman, i.e. our attorney, our general counsel who worked on the sealed bid that we're being asked to vote on right now. So
no, we're being asked to vote on a list of bill payments.
Yes, payment for this item, sealed bid. Would you rather I just not do any due diligence?
I'm not sure what due diligence you're doing. because you're asking about something we're not approving. We're approving payment,
Yeah, we're approving payment.
not a contract.
Yes.
Not a contract.
A
You understand that?
responsibility, a response. I
Could
do
you answer my
understand.
question?
Yes,
Good. That's
absolutely.
first.
I completely understand. Do you
Good.
understand that as part of the process of approving a payment, I would like to speak to whomever worked on the sealed bid, because that is all related to whether I decide to vote yes or no on this payment.
And I believe that a sufficient answer to that is that our law firm approved that contract 6 or 8 months ago.
Individual commissioners shouldn't have that information because you could have an undue influence on those individuals. Is that what you're trying to do? You're trying to speak to the individual who worked on this so that you have a certain influence over them or may attempt to intimidate them in some way?
Not at all.
So
Not
then
at
why-
all.
so-
But I'm
so
trying to
what does it-
understand
so what
how
does it
something
matter
that
who
happened
did it?
8 months ago would be giving
the point is-
doing some sort of undue influence on something that happened 8
The
months
point
ago.
is that a law firm that we hired did the work. You don't need to know what paralegal went to the file room. You don't need to know what lawyer actually opened the bid. You don't need to know who actually got the pen from the conference room. You don't need to know any of that. You need to know that from a professional standpoint, the law firm that we duly hired did the work. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know the individual because that is very, very close. It's, in my opinion anyway, it's on the borderline of having an undue influence over a specific individual at a firm, and that is absolutely improper.
Really?
My 2
Really?
cents.
My
2 cents. You're very welcome.
Thank you, Councilman Russo, for bringing this to my attention. Thank you for explaining the possibility of an undue influence that I could be unknowingly going into. I appreciate it.
Or knowingly.
Or knowingly. Or knowingly.
Because that could be true too.
So, I really do appreciate that. Can you please help me to understand what would be an undue influence? Point of order, may I have a question and
It's
the
supposed to
chair.
be to the director.
Well, I'm asking you because you guys are writing something down, communicating, and I was wondering. if-
That's our business.
It's your business? Well, it's happening.
If you want to know what it was, what I wrote down was 320 Marshall Drive, Hoboken, New Jersey, 07030.
Yes.
Thank you.
So now you know.
Thank you. So, can you, since you're an expert in what is possibly an undue influence, can you please tell me what's an undue influence so that I can avoid it in the future?
You're addressing me?
Yes, I am.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I mean.
Remember when you asked about the closed session?
Yeah.
Remember what my answer was then?
No.
Replay it in your head.
No, I don't remember.
That was exactly it. No.
It wasn't?
Move on, Commissioner.
You don't wanna help me?
Move on.
Okay.
You are a disgrace. It's plain and simple. You're a disgrace.
Please.
You're a disgrace.
You obviously have something you want to say. Please,
I
tell me
just
why
said
I'm a
it.
disgrace.
I just said it.
Why am I a disgrace?
Oh, that list is way too long, Commissioner.
Well, we got time. Come on, this might be my last meeting. Don't you want to?
Can we move forward?
Okay? Somebody okay over there?
Can we move forward, please? Can we call the vote? Because this is not, he's gonna vote no anyway, so, I mean, do you want to answer the question, or have you answered the question?
I don't know what question is on the table. You want to call the vote, Chairman?
We're not calling the vote because I have questions. On the list of
Excuse
bills.
me, you should not treat her that way. Don't assume, we're not calling the vote. Who are you to say that? You could ask her politely if you
Co-equal
have
commissioner of this
questions.
board.
No one says you're not, but we demand respect. Say, excuse me, Madam Chair, I have additional questions. May I please continue to ask them? Not be an intimidation or a threatening, it says, no, we will not call the vote.
So when you were giggling and laughing earlier, that was a sign of
That
respect.
pertains nothing to you.
That is nothing.
Commissioner.
Okay. So I have some questions. Can I ask those questions?
Yes, if you
Thank
get through them quickly. Because you're just stalling and stalling and stalling.
I'm not stalling.
Yes, you are.
So, since I only had 3 minutes to review this.
False information again.
General counsel, are your services, your legal services, on the amended list of bills.
Look at it, it's right there.
Let's take a look.
Yeah, I looked at it, I only had 3 minutes, and now I'm being pressured to move on very quickly, so I
Correct,
don't
because you
know.
have 30,
Thank
you've
you.
had 30 too.
Yes, they are. They're at the very top of page 1.
Very top of page 1. See, I didn't see it because the staple was in the way. All right, Fitzpatrick and Waterman, services rendered as general legal counsel, special legal, $23,482.50. Director, can I ask counsel some questions about his billing?
You could direct them to the director.
I did, just now.
The question.
And I asked the question if I could speak to
Yeah.
counsel.
Yeah. The answer is ask him to me, and I'll see if I need his assistance. We've been through this already.
Thank you, director.
Every
Every
month?
month?
As a point of order, do you represent all members of the board?
No, excuse me, no, I represent the board.
You represent the board?
I don't represent individual members.
Correct. So,
Thank
as a
you.
member of the board,
Yes.
as a member of the board, can I ask you questions?
That is up to the chair who runs the meeting under the bylaws of this authority.
So I can't
Which
ask
you
you
seem to
questions
have forgotten multiple times while disrespecting the chair, other members of the board, and the only reason why I'm pointing this out, professionals of the authority, which I think is extremely inappropriate.
Thank you.
I don't have a problem when you do it to me, you've been doing it to me for months, but when you do it to other professionals of the authority, I'm going to put my foot down.
All right, fine.
Okay, Commissioner Sanford, can we move on? Stop the dramatics, ask the questions, and move on, please.
I have a question, and the
Okay,
director seems to be
so can we
thinking-
get to the
I
question?
did ask the question, and
You have not asked the question.
Okay, then,
He said you can direct the question to him, and if he needs the lawyers to actually follow up, he will have that lawyer follow up.
all right, Director.
Everyone heard it but you.
Director Renner, the line item in question, top of the page, page 1, for what period of legal services does that represent?
I don't know what's the period then.
Yes, that's why I apologize. There was a line that got cut off. So it was for August and September of 2024.
Right.
August.
Okay, next question.
No, listen, I'm still asking questions. I just got an answer, I got to think about what he said.
August
So-
and September?
Yes. So is that August 1st through September 30th?
Yes.
Okay. And what services were provided within that 2-month period?
General legal counsel services, special legal counsel related to tenancy matters. And there were a lot of discussions as we go through this redevelopment process. We consider the RAD matter.
Got it. What were the redevelopment matters that involved council?
I don't have
Yeah, I would say we'd have to go back to every question we have over a period of 2 months, and that's a lot of different issues that.
If you put it in writing, the director.
Yeah, I mean, we can take a look back and see, but I work with council daily on eviction issues, on legal issues, on board issues, on resolution issues. So again, I mean, that question is huge.
It is.
Yeah, it is, over a 2-month period. I don't think I can give you a blow-by-blow, minute-by-minute.
If I could, Director, I apologize for breaking protocol, but this question's been asked and answered ad nauseum. We submit monthly detailed bills by the quarter of an hour. If you have questions about them, feel free to request our bills. The authority gets them usually every month, and as I explained to you last month, we did not submit a bill last month because we had other priorities for the authority. So that's why this bill is for 2 months.
Well, thank you, Matt. I would love to ask you questions, but I apparently can't talk to you.
I believe if you request that, in accordance with the policy of the authority, you would get all of your answers.
I'd like to have those answers now on the public record. Can that happen?
No.
We don't have them in front of us.
Excuse me, are you recording?
No. We don't have them in front of us.
So, Emma, or can I ask Emma a question?
Give me the question. We've been through this.
So,
Sorry.
sorry.
I didn't mean to smart you.
So, during the course of these 2 months for general legal services, did Fitzpatrick and Waterman provide any legal counsel either to the authority, to members of the board, regarding the attempted removal of this commissioner?
I would have to take a look at what their billing says.
I can answer that if you'd like, Commissioner.
Yeah, sure.
No, we had no involvement whatsoever with what you're referring to. I only found out about it today.
Yeah.
I see. I appreciate you answering.
And I found out about it Monday.
You found out about it
About
Monday?
it on, when was the hearing? The day before.
Well, the hearing was yesterday.
Oh, okay, the day before yesterday then.
Okay. It was at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
You were there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Day before yesterday.
So counsel did not assist you at any point in preparing for that hearing?
No.
Got it. Who asked you to be there?
Alyssa Wells.
Got it.
Shouldn't those be questions asked of the appointee?
Yeah, it should.
I'm just asking.
Yeah.
I don't think that's your place, and that has nothing to do with the list of bills, so could we move forward with that? Because that has nothing.
Well, I'm trying to understand. No, if I'm asking the wrong person, who should I be asking?
I think that if you're asking pertaining to the questions that you have, I think you should ask the appointee who appointed you to this board of whatever question you have pertaining to that. That has nothing to do with our list of bills. Matt answered your question. He stated that he had nothing to do with that. It doesn't reflect the bills. Can we move on with the next question?
So Matt just answered that he had just found out today.
Correct. So he answered your question because your question was, did the lawyer have anything to do with, no, you let me speak now. Okay? Your question to them was, did the lawyer have anything to do with the fact that you had a hearing or so forth, whatever happened at that, and Matt clearly stated to you that no, they did not have anything and that he only found out today. Your question was answered, moving on to the next question.
Well, so I'm going to address the question to you.
Yes.
May I address the question to you?
If it has pertaining to the list of bills, absolutely. If it does not, no, you cannot. We are on the list of bills.
Well, so the question I'd like to ask you.
Is it pertaining to the list of bills?
It's related to.
No, is it pertaining to the list of bills?
It's related to counsel's answer just now, approximately.
It has nothing to do with it. He answered your question. Your question was he involved? He said no. Question answered, moving on. The next question.
Madam Chair, may I ask my question?
No. If it pertains, if it pertains to your personal situation, absolutely
Madam Chair,
not.
you're preventing me from asking a question?
If it doesn't pertain to the list of bills,
I can ask any question.
you can ask that during new business.
So I'm just going to go ahead and ask the question.
Well, Director, if that's the case and he's disrespecting me again, I ask you to call the vote, Director. I will ask you, Director, to call the vote.
Counsel, should this member of the board been afforded counsel by the housing authority?
Call the vote, Director.
Prior to being removed?
David Edwards?
Yes.
Counsel?
Anthony
Would you
Forbes?
like to answer the question?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo? Aye. James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitzman?
Yes.
Here. Resolution number 2024-1004, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to award the contract for banking services.
Madam Chair, point of order.
We did that one already.
Point of order.
10:05.
I keep forgetting that one.
Madam Chair, point of order. I was rushed and I had other questions and I reserved the
No,
right.
you were not rushed. We can go back to the record that it will show that we gave you ample time to ask your questions. No, I did not. I asked you if you had any further questions regarding the list of bills, which you refused to ask at that time. So at that point, I asked for us to continue with calling the vote. The questions you had pertain nothing to the list of bills. It was actually a new business, probably, that you needed to ask that. And because it didn't pertain to the list of bills, I asked for the vote.
Madam Chair,
cause
just
of the
as a
vote.
point of order, I just like to clarify, Commissioner Russo has been pointing his phone at me for several minutes, and I just want to make sure I'm not being recorded.
Yankees are up 3-1.
But you're not recording.
And listen, and at the end of the day, I hope that you all understand that everybody's recorded because we're currently online. So it's not a secret that everyone here is
I
being
just don't know why he's
recorded.
pointing his phone at me.
Okay, that's neither here nor there, that's not my business, that's not what I'm here for. Resolution number 2024-1005, a resolution of the Housing Authority of the City of Hoboken to ratify the October 10th, 2024 award of an emergency contract for boiler replacement.
Motion.
Second.
Director Rego.
Questions, concerns?
Who should I speak to, either you or Emil, about this alleged emergency contract?
I might repeat about how many times we've answered that question.
Yeah, well,
Please direct your question to me.
In writing,
And in email,
14 days.
14 days.
Erica knows.
So, Director, please help me and this board to understand why this is an emergency.
This is the last one.
Madam Chair, point of order, other commissioners are talking. They need to, the court recorder needs to be able to.
I'm sorry, but the court reporter has not complained. Are you having a problem listening? Thank you very much. Thank you for pointing
Yeah,
that
but she's
out.
not capturing the conversations that are happening on the side. And the
And she
business is
shouldn't.
recording.
She should be actually capturing your conversation because you have.
Well, then I'd like the record to reflect.
Okay, you have the
I'd like
floor.
the record to reflect that there has been whispering amongst the other commissioners.
It's in regard to it's in regards to, we have two, may I?
Yeah, there's two 1005 resolutions that are completely different from my book. So which one are we voting on?
We need to the reorder of the resolutions.
I have one that starts
No,
with,
it's a continuation.
What's a continuation of the?
Yeah.
It's a continuation.
The first one.
It just didn't fit on one page, Commissioner.
Yeah.
So if you look, it goes from
Whereas,
the whereas and then the
therefore.
following page is now therefore be resolved.
okay,
Yep, just a continuation.
got it.
Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. Commissioner Sanford, you can, or Director, you have the floor.
So, we have a situation at 401 Marshall Drive where we have a boiler that's been operating, and then we have another boiler that's been dead for a number of years. And if you remember, we went through and replaced a number of boilers over time, and we have this particular area where we've had one boiler working and the other just hasn't worked. Since we fired up our boilers a couple weeks ago, we have found that the existing boiler that's been working has, if you will, sprung a leak between two of the parts of the boiler, two sections of the boiler. Now, we're faced with a debacle here. In order to fix the boiler that is currently operating, it will have to be down for as much as 2 weeks in order to fix that boiler. We can alternatively replace the boiler that has not worked for quite a while within a week. We can have that done quickly while the leaking boiler is leaking, but it's functioning. Now, we take the risk of that leaking boiler stopping functioning. It may not function it may function for a week, it may function for 2 weeks, but we just don't know. So the alternative is to go out, replace that boiler that hasn't been working under an emergency contract, get that boiler up and running, right? While the old boiler is running, then we shut down the boiler that's malfunctioning and repair that boiler. We're now back to the situation which we would love to have at each of our sites, that we have 2 functioning boilers, one working and one in reserve.
When did the leak occur?
I believe it was this past Monday is when we became aware.
Okay, so.
Past Thursday, October 3rd.
Okay,
October 3rd.
thank you.
So it's been about a week, 7 days?
Yeah, right about then.
And so to help us understand what the emergency is,
Yeah.
Madam Chair, Can you not interrupt me?
I was just putting on the record, you're the one asking. I don't think anybody else needs an explanation to it.
Okay, please stop interrupting me.
You've done it all night to me.
October 3rd, about a week ago, has the situation deteriorated?
I don't know if it's deteriorated or not. I wasn't here on October 3rd to do a day-by-day. I do know that our lead boiler mechanic is very concerned about it and that it continues to leak.
Okay. So this is an emergency for an anticipated problem.
Well, there's two things. One is we know that the existing boiler is leaking. That's not anticipated.
It's happening.
It's happening now. It's leaking. And we know that the weather is getting colder. We know that. And so in order to assure our residents of having heat, we need to address the problem just as quickly as we can. And the quickest path to address that problem is to put in that new boiler.
Right. So as I understand past emergencies and past procurement regarding emergencies, you are authorized to simply just take action, make the repair, and then come back to the board for this emergency. So that's why I'm asking these questions, because it's a little different.
Well, I've already authorized this contract. And what I'm asking for you to do, just like in the past, is for you to actually authorize and how is this?
Ratified.
Ratified. This actually is like those other resolutions asking you to ratify, because I have already authorized this contractor to proceed.
Thank you.
So, in your opinion, how long can we wait on this?
Why should we have to wait on something that affects every one of our residents?
My question was to the director, Madam Chair. My question was to the director.
We can't wait. We need to move immediately.
Sure.
Because I lived there.
So,
well, that's the second reason.
We don't want you cold.
So, this immediate action that you've taken, is Silva Mechanical, how did you choose Silva?
We chose 3 firms that we know can do good work, and we asked them to submit proposals.
So you did go through a bid process?
Yeah, proposals, yes. Not exactly bid, because we didn't do sealed bids. I asked for proposals, I asked for them as soon as they could possibly get them to me. And as soon as they did, we evaluated them and moved forward.
Okay, so if I have additional questions, would they be to council or would they be to Commissioner Edwards?
Oh, this didn't go to Commissioner Edwards.
Okay.
This is not a professional procurement, this is an emergency contract.
Okay.
So they would go to the director?
So Director, you reached out to these 3?
Yes.
Okay, and who are the principals of these 3 companies?
Oh, I don't know, as we sit here, I would have to get you that information. I'll be glad to give it to you if you request it to me in writing.
In writing, 2 weeks later?
Yes.
14 days.
13 days?
Crowd participation.
Thank you.
Call the vote, Director.
David Edwards?
Yes.
Anthony Forbes?
You're on mute.
Rev?
Yes.
Barbara Reyes?
Yes.
Jean Rodriguez?
Yes.
Michael Russo?
Aye.
James Sanford?
No.
Erica Seitz?
Yes.
Motion to close?
Motion.
Motion?
All in
No.
favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you, everybody.
Have a good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.